I I'm not gonna get it. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. I know, but I'm on my phone. Hello, hello, K Jen. Hello, hello, YouTube family. Hello, TikTok family. How's everyone doing today? I hope everyone is doing fine. We got an interesting topic that we are going to cover today, and I'm so excited about it. Very excited about it. Hello, hello. I got K Jen and my TikTok family. Got my YouTube family people coming on. Give me just a moment. Uh, I don't know what's going on here. What email is this? Now, if that's so, how come I haven't received an email, y'all. I'm looking in here and I don't see an email. You hear me? Okay. Hello, Daisha B144. Hello, hello, hello. We got an interesting topic we're going to talk about today, which I've dropped some great lectures in our Know Thyself membership, and they are going to be um, very intrigued by a lot of the things that we discuss over there regarding hoodoo. And I know what you've heard. I know what all of you have heard. You have seen one aspect of hoodoo. That's all a little magic work, maybe the spiritual baths, just the spiritual side. But hoodoo, it again has so many areas and it's so vast. Okay, so we're gonna break it down today. Really talking about the shallow. Sorry, the shadow work, the psychogenealogy, the intergenerational trauma, and healing in hoodoo. Why healing is necessary. I don't even know why you want to get over here and pick up something anyway and not just look at what happened to your ancestors and how that intergenerational trauma was passed on to you. That's where the shadow work comes in at. That's where the real magic happens when you can go in and find out about you, your ancestors, and start doing the healing work on you. And you really look at your family when you really get to know who you truly are. Magic happens when you get in alignment. Okay. So again, just had a wonderful lecture over there, and we're going to talk about psychogenealogy. I wanted to give people a couple more minutes to come in. Hello, Goddess. Hello, Deshay. Hello, Stacks. Hello, 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 TikTok family. I don't know how stable my internet is over there, but if it's not stable, join me on YouTube with the YouTube family. I think that this one is pretty much stable over here if this gets unstable. Hello, Ed Mashana. Hello, little people, FC. Hello, 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 TikTok family. Hello, 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 YouTube family. I'll try not to keep you long. But I wanted to have this discussion because see now we're diving into the shadow work of this, and I'm starting to have more lectures again on the psychology of any magic. Your mind need to be together. See, people ain't telling you that, and then you come up here and we start trying to do this work, and we find out we have blocks. We don't know where they at or where to start from. But over there in our community, that's our main foundation is shadow work and ancestral veneration because hoodoo is built upon that. Okay. Hello, Jeff. And we break that all the way down. Okay. Like we're going to do right now. So have some notes here. And as you know, I'll go over the notes and then I would again interject more on the notes and bring more context and my perspective on it. Psychogenealogy is the study of how our ancestors' mental, emotional, and spiritual states live on within us because they're still in you. They don't die. We are truly our ancestors. Everything they go through, all that, everything they go through, they pass it on to us, whether we knowingly or unknowingly know it. And it's done on a subtle level. You won't know until you start questioning your thoughts and your feelings. It reveals that we are not just individuals, but extensions of our bloodline, carrying patterns, wounds, and even unspoken histories that shape our lives. For African Americans, this understanding is crucial. You need to understand that. See, I'm over there breaking down intergenerational trauma, explaining psychosomatic illnesses that we don't even know we have, but you won't even know it until you sit down with yourself and start looking at your mind. Hey, time stepping army. You won't even know it, baby. You won't know it. See, who do more than the magic spells and all that stuff? It's more than that. It's a responsibility that we have to heal. Hi, Rossetti. Hello, Sharia Ballard. Hello, Bunny 141-100. Hello, Yvette Washington. Stony Rocky 116. Hello, hello, TikTok family. Hello, hello, YouTube family. Welcome. Okay, Miss Penny gonna share some information with you. You don't understand what happened. I don't know why you would pick up something and you see all this going on and we study from we suffer from we're still in that systemic racism, still in that cycle of abuse over there. You over there in Americas, you see it for yourself. Okay, so now more than ever, we need to be diving deep and contacting our ancestors and doing the shadow work. Okay, because the trauma of slavery did not vanish with emancipation. It was passed forward, etched into our DNA, embedded in family family dynamics, and reinforced by ongoing systemic oppression. It never stops. That's why shadow work is so important to deal with them rascals over there. You better be doing your work and be as close as you can to your ancestors. You dealing with those rascals over there, you better be having some spiritual ammunition and power. And how do we get it? Doing that shadow work, learning from our ancestors, seeing what they passed on positively and negative, and start to healing and moving those things out. And setting boundaries with those people. Because son, I set a boundary with them. I said, no, America, you are not gonna keep doing me like this. You're not gonna wage war on my mind, body, and spirit. I tell you what, I'll just get up and leave. Because I know the people not ready to do something with you. But really, you should be taking hoodoo and doing something about that. Okay, that's what all us really need to be doing right now. Is taking hoodoo and doing something about that. That is my opinion. Okay, you can take that or leave that, but do know that the intergenerational trauma is there, and we're seeing it cycle. It just recycles itself, just like it's recycling itself now with all that crap that's going on there. This is what our ancestors had to deal with. We still got to deal with. This is what's in our bloodline. That's why when people come over here and say, "Is hoodoo open?" No, as a matter of fact, it is absolutely not open. And I shouldn't have to explain this to you. You're gonna need to go look at the history of what your ancestors did to my ancestors. And stop asking me, can you come over here? I don't see why you would do that after all the atrocities and the systemic racism that we still experience. It's to me, it's the audacity and disrespect to me. You act like you don't know what's going on. You're gonna come over here and try to invade our space. And this is how this started. You invading folks, trying to be in places where you're not supposed to be. Hello, True. Hello, Missy Tahai. Hello, K Customs. Hello, Lilith Evernight. Hello, Talabria. Talabra. I hope I'm saying it right. IA. Hello, 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 TikTok family. Okay, I don't know why you want to do that. That's why I can stand firm on that because I know, honey, I had to heal from this. Still healing from it. Still looking at it. That's why I can stand on. Hell no, we won't go. That's why I can stand firm on that, beloved. It's not to be mean, it's because I understand. Okay, and once you get the healing and getting this stuff out your bloodline, you be saying, hell no, I ain't gonna go either. It's closed. Period. Okay. Epigenetics has shown us what our ancestors already knew. Trauma can be inherited. They saw that when the Jews, the so-called Holocaust with the Jews, they still have that epigenetics in their DNA. They did the full study on it. So if those people that suffer from generational trauma still have echoes of that in their DNA. You don't think? And we were in our circumstances way longer than that them. You don't think that stuff's still in our DNA? You don't think it's still in there? You're sadly mistaken. You're sadly mistaken if you think that is not in our DNA, because it absolutely is in our DNA. Okay? The fear, grief, and survival mechanisms of enslaved people alter gene expressions, and those changes echoes through the descendants. I just said that. What began as a brutal violence of enslavement continues through racism, poverty, mass incarceration, daily microaggressions. This unbroken cycle of trauma contributes to anxiety disorders, depression, psychosomatic illness, where unresolved emotions manifest in the body as dis-ease or chronic pain. See, they know what's going on with you because they making you sick. Our ancestors understood that. So you think the spiritual baths and all that is just for magic. No, it's to pull all that toxicity out of your body too. It's a psycho spiritual treatment therapy to help shift your mind to a higher consciousness so you won't fall into depression. See, they didn't have no psychologists or anything like that. So they had to go to nature and use psycho spiritual treatments to help them. Hello, Dr. Lynn. I'm gonna break it down for you today. So when next time you reach for hoodoo, you remember what it's for. You won't take it lightly. I apologize. People come here and they make it seem like it's that, but hey, it's so much more. And over there, I break everything down so you can fully understand. So you can't walk away from there saying you don't know, because you absolutely know. Hello, Raekwon Jackson. I hope you got your natal chart. I emailed it to you a couple of days ago. I hope it resonated with you. Okay. So you again, see, don't forget that. I keep that on the front of my mind because that's what it was born out of. Ugliness. Something beautiful came out of something so ugly. And hoodoo is beautiful. You're welcome. Okay. You need to know yourself now more than ever. So you see, you see what you're dealing with, and you have all that power and support you need dealing with some of them rascals. Okay, because you sure dealing with them. We sure still dealing with those rascals. There ain't nothing changed. Man, now more than ever, people need to know and learn hoodoo the correct way, and it's beyond this Christian faith thing. Hoodoo is not Christian. And I apologize. People come up here and they present it in that way. You know, it's so many moving components to hoodoo. Uh, it's a everything. Okay, you use it in your everyday life, just like our ancestors had us doing it in our everyday life, and we didn't even realize we was doing it, but we was practicing hoodoo. That's how it should be in your life. Okay, so you think this is something you pass by? No, this is a way of life. This is getting in alignment. This is about healing. You want to honor your ancestors? Start doing this work. You want to see big shifts in your life? Start looking at this. Shadow work allows us to face the buried wounds of our lineage by examining family pathology patterns, because we're getting ready to break that down. That's going to be one of our first workshops that's coming up September 6th. That is coming up September 6th. We're going to be breaking that down. We're going to be looking at the family pathology. I've already asked the people in the group that I already started looking through their workbook and breaking it down, because that's going to be our first meeting. We're going to start off doing the work. We do the work over here. Okay. Hello, Candy Clark. Hello, Gwen Fields. Hello, Maria. We do the work over here. Okay. I break it all the way down. You need to know the pathology patterns of abuse, the silence, the shame, the survival. We not only learn more about our families, but about ourselves. Because the more we learn about our families, the more we learn about ourselves. You need to know yourself. Some people don't know themselves. You think you know yourself, but you don't know yourself until you start putting stuff on paper and questioning your thoughts and your feelings. And see, a lot of people reaching for this your hoodoo because they again their emotions are running high and now they want to jack some stuff up. Or again, they're emotionally wounded and they're trying to do the work and now they got blocks. And they don't know where the blocks come from. They don't know why they can't do the work. Well, I tell you why you can't do the work because again, you got to get your mind right, beloved. Okay? Doing any kind of work like this, your mind has to be worked right and be in alignment with it. I don't know a person who is practicing any sort of magic that don't know that your mind has to be in alignment with your magic to see results. That's why it's better to go ahead and start with shadow work before you even start doing that stuff. It's better to start healing and working on yourself before you do anything. You want to do some work on somebody and not on yourself. That's why in hoodoo, before you even get started with any work, what do? We cleanse ourselves. We prepare before we even do the work. Ain't no sense in doing the work if you ain't clean. You going in with tainted work. You need to be clean and make sure that your mind is in alignment. And again, we are diving deep over there because there again, I'm breaking down the psychology of magic because that's the basis of it. Okay, this is a spiritual science, and if you don't understand your mind and how it works, then I don't know how far you're going to get with working, doing the work. And see, our ancestors, again, we go back and look at our Kemetic ancestors, our indigenous ancestors, they understood this. Okay, hello, Lilith. Hello, Theo, Essence, Spiritu. Hello, Sterling, Centum. They understood this. And so, what you calling magic, we know as practitioners or anybody who practice magic, it's all about alignment. It's all about being in the right mind frame. And if you're not in the right mind frame and you trying to talk to your ancestors, you don't know your thoughts from your ancestors' thoughts. You don't know your feelings from your ancestors' feelings because you ain't took time enough to sit in your own energy and figure yourself out. And you're gonna be missing messages. Hello, country diviner. You're gonna be missing messages because your mind is not right. It's not in a tune. It's not a tune. It's not on a high enough frequency. Okay, all this work together. It's not separate at all. It trips me out how people don't want to do any shadow work, don't want to do it, but they want to read tarot cards, but they don't want to look at themselves. They don't even want to acknowledge that they have anything going on with them. And then when them tarot cards start showing themselves, all they ready to put them down now, or they can't read themselves because they're in denial about who they are. That's how that works, beloved. Been doing this a long time. I've been doing this a long time. Real rounded in what I'm speaking about. Okay, I'm living it. This is nothing I heard. This is what I've lived. I need your help doing shadow work. I recommend that you get over there in the over there to Patreon, beloved. Get over there in the Know Thyself membership because we're getting ready to go through our first course. And once this course gets to started, and what I notice about once we get in these healing circles, most people, when we get started in the healing circle, they really don't want any new people in there. And I can't really blame them because there's so much vulnerability, openness in there, and the trust is already built. So it's hard for people that's been doing the work to accept somebody in their new when they have made it so far together. So this is why I recommend that you get over there now. I'm only taking 20 people. There's maybe 17 spots left. There's still plenty of spots left. But once we could start going on, again, I don't know. Again, those new it's usually like that in the group. Once they start healing together and the intimacy grows in there, it's hard to integrate new people in a healing circle. Okay, because of the level of trust that's needed into something sacred like that. I hope that made sense to you because I understand it. Again, our first workshop is starting September 6th. There will be a lot of meetings over there. Okay. And if you can't make it to those meetings, because you're gonna have to invest in yourself and your spiritual and mental wellness. So to get the again get the benefits out of that membership, please attend the workshop and meeting so you can be sitting up there talking. Because this is the time you should be using your mouth. We don't know how to use our mouth, but I'm gonna show you how to use it, how to get healing. Open your mouth and get some healing, and that's what we're gonna be doing. Okay, that is your best tool right there. It can release and create that hole in our face. And so you're not gonna stand by over there and just sit by and sit by and watch folks. No, you're gonna be participating in your healing. You're gonna be fighting for your healing. You're gonna get it too. Okay. And again, that first workshop starts over September 6th, and we go right into psychogenealogy. People, like I said, go in your workbook and start breaking down that tree and listing those family members because we're gonna talk about it. And you'll see as you begin to talk about it, so many other insights gonna start popping in your head. Things you thought you forgot that you need to remember and process. Okay, this real work over here. I don't know what I don't forget what they told you. I don't care what they make, I apologize if they come here and make it look like this. But when I tell you, when I start doing shadow work and start healing, baby, I reach every time. I think everyone that was in my healing circle was reaching for something spiritual. Yeah, we was going to the doctor, but we was still having these psychosomatic symptoms. And they didn't stop until we got serious about what we was doing, and most of us had to reach for something spiritual, whether it was Reiki. I started doing massages. I exercised a lot. Cranked up my therapy. Okay. Cranked up those spiritual baths. Cranked up those affirmations. Yes. Okay. Doctor ain't gonna tell you this. They only gonna treat your body, making a fool out of you since they made you sick. But what hoodoo is a holistic medicine. That's what you got, them herbs and them baths and all that is a holistic treatment overall for the mind, body, and spirit. I said it. It ain't just for magic, it's for the mind, body, and spirit. And when you start learning it and you approach hoodoo that way, hoodoo shows up. You get results. I know nobody didn't tell you that, but I'm gonna tell you. They ain't gonna break it down like this. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you Psalms and what do you call it, candle work and all that gonna fix it. No, you got to get your mind in the game. You got to get your mind in the game. That's what you have to do. Your mind ain't right, it's only so far you're gonna get with this, on this journey. Okay. The act of naming, confronting these patterns is a sacred form of liberation. We begin to release trauma not just from our own minds and bodies, but from the spirit of our bloodline. This process is essential for alignment, clarity, and the cultivation of resilience. Why you think our ancestors was up there testifying? They was releasing, they was healing, they was getting their power back. Hey, I'm doing rounds at work, but I'm listening. Okay, spirit first. Hello, Tanya Renee Earn. Because this is work. I know what they told you, and I really don't like it like that because it deserves more respect. Our ancestors was reaching for this to save their lives. And here we are reducing it to just magic. And it's so much more components to it. Yeah, it's got a variety of magic in it. Again, you see those root workers were healing, midwives was healing with these herbs. They had a special relationship with the herbs and the kinship with the land. They were in alignment with nature. That's why they carried that almanac. They made sure they kept themselves in alignment with nature. Okay. Hello, empathy nursing. Hello, the real what is that, beautiful. Okay. Many approach hoodoo solely through the lens of magic rituals. spells, and conjure. Yet the core of hoodoo is healing. That's the core of it. Most people go there when they come to hoodoo when they on their last leg. They done hit their bottom. Okay? And it starts saving their life. I'm gonna tell you who is a good example of hoodoo. And she probably don't see it that way because she thinks she Christian. But I'm gonna tell you who is a good example of hoodoo who has been on this TikTok app, and I could see that transformation on her. That Tabitha woman. Okay, the one got her own season or whatever, and that child, she said she was having a bad health crisis. She got in alignment and started eating right. She got her life right, and look how her life shifted when she got in alignment. And you wonder with some people, how did that all of a sudden happen to them? How did good thing? Because they got in alignment. They got serious about their life. They start putting in the work, and the shift will happen. See, a lot of the work you think you have to do, you don't really have to do. What you really, you'll see things change when you start getting your mind right. You start getting your thoughts together because your thoughts create your reality. And you'll find yourself having to do less and less work. Okay? You'll find yourself having to do less and less work. That's how that works. They're not telling you that, but I'm going to tell you that for anyone who's been on this spirit. I was listening to a guy. Um, he was talking about hoodoo, how hoodoo healed his life. He was disabled, had autism, and he said he couldn't do nothing for himself, and he reached for magic, and magic changed his life. I've heard people say that, and I think magic is, using that term. I think we need to really be careful how we use this term as well, because it makes it seem like that we don't have to do any work, and you absolutely do. Okay, I don't care what they're telling you. Nobody is going up there, uh, just lighting candles and walking away. Oh, beloved, no, we are not. Sometimes we are wrestling with the spirit. We are doing some work, some real prayer work, getting up early in the morning, doing what we need to do to get the work moving. This is not about comfortability over here. You're gonna have to get uncomfortable and want to grow. Okay. Our ancestors developed this practice as medicine for the body, the mind, and the spirit, rooted in survival and restoration. When we dismiss the healing dimensions of hoodoo, we miss its greatest gift. You do. When I see people doing that, I'm like, no, absolutely not. There's more here that's going on here. Hello, Jessica. Hello, Teflon. Hi, Hassan. Hi, Joel, Henry. Anyone that's in here, can you please tap the screen so we can let others get a chance to see what's going on here? If you could, please. I'm sharing here. My TikTok family, if you don't mind, tap the screen so we can get the numbers up there and get other people looking at what's going on here. Okay. The ability to transmute generational pain into generational strength. True hoodoo requires us to face ourselves, honor our ancestors, and release the wounds encoded in our lineage. That's what happens. Okay, if you're truly doing the work, you're going to see the change. And because hoodoo is ancestral, that is the foundation we work on. We work on healing ourselves and our ancestors because we deserve prosperity. We deserve to be healed. We deserve, all our desires to be given to us. We do. Okay, we do. But we do the work. If we really truly want to heal and be whole, we do the work. Okay, and you will start seeing the changes. You will start seeing the changes. So if you haven't saw any changes in your work, start doing this work. Start getting in alignment. Hello, Autumn. Hello, Tanya Renee. To heal ourselves is to heal our ancestors. to heal our ancestors is to create a freer path for those who come after us. By engaging in psychogenealogy and epigenetic awareness and the deep shadow work that Hoodoo calls us to, we reclaim our power. This healing is not just personal, it is collective. It transformed the body, mind, spirit, and bloodline, ensuring that we pass forward not trauma but wholeness. See, a lot of people don't want to hear that. You want me to come here. It trips me out because people are fascinated with trying to reach for power and not even grounded enough to use the power. See, y'all don't want to hear this. You do not want to hear this. You would love it if I came here and started showing you spells to jack people up, and that I would come here and I would show you my pettiness and all my wounds. We are attracted to that. Some of us are attracted to drama. Okay, we're attracted to doing all type of nefarious things to people. We have normalized that being okay. Okay, we're attracted to that. We want to know how to put people in pots and jars and stuff like that, but we don't want to sit down somewhere and figure out why the hell I want to be jacking people up life up like that instead of dealing with regulate my own emotions. Why I want to mess up my brother or my sister like that instead of have a healing conversation with them. Oh yeah, this is what's been passed down to us. I know you don't want to hear it. You don't like it. Okay, you don't like it. Now if I was coming here and I was doing all this other fancy stuff and showing you all the work that you don't need to know, that half of you, a lot of us have not earned the right to know that type of work. But what you don't understand when somebody come here and show you, they're not giving you a full context of what went on with that candle that they're lighting. You don't know the full context. Okay? You don't know it. That's just what you see. But behind the scenes, you best believe that that witch or that worker are doing things that has their magic in alignment. And most of us are not going to share that with you, because what you will hear most of us say, we went through blood, sweat, and tears to come up with that formula, and you think that we're going to just freely give it away to you, and you ain't put in no work. You will hear people say that. You will hear people that has been working this for so long, especially the older practitioners. They don't show you nothing because they have put in too much work to come up with their spiritual scientific method of dealing with their everyday problems. So they're not going to freely just give that to you like that. They're just not going to do it. That's why you need to get in here. That's why I tell people, when you start doing your shadow work, then your ancestors will start showing you how to do stuff when you go to try to healing yourself. When they see you trying to heal yourself, they will share all types of things with you. When you hello pickle bread, okay, they will share all types of things with you. The inner voice will wake up and start guiding you because you start questioning yourself. You start talking to yourself, and that inner voice will come forward. And you be like, dang, was this already here? Yes, already here, but you never took the time enough to slow down, beloved, because you were stuck in survival mode. Them rascals got you stuck in survival mode and got us to halfway lost our mind. We can't even sit down and come into our mind. It was already there, baby. They just had you stuck in survival mode. You couldn't even hear your own inner voice. They cut us off from that. It got you stuck in survival mode. But when you start really getting in your practice, time start working for you. Okay, you stop that stop working against you, and you get an alignment and sit in your spirit, and you follow it. No matter what you see going on around you, you stay still in your spirit. You hold on and you grip on to your inner peace. That's what we do over here. Okay? And I know you don't see it right now. Now you probably said, Miss Penny, I don't have anxiety. I don't have PTSD. Yes, honey, you better go back and look what happened to your ancestors. That's what you better do. You need to go look and look at Sandra Bland. We can go on and on and on. Trayvon, what's his name, Martin, whatever his name is. We could just go on and on and on and on and on. Okay, Rodney King. We can just go on and on and on and on and on. Honey, them folks, they continue to traumatize you. Hell, we can't even. We got to watch where we go. We got to be suspicious of every pale face that come near us. That this is a fact, Jack. You understand me? And now more than ever, I don't even know. I don't even want to even imagine what you're feeling right now with all that Rick and Moreau going on there. The anxiety over there with people of color got to be on 1,000. I know it is. Making people mentally and spiritually sick with your shenanigans. Hello, Mary Gillum. Hello, Pickle Bread. Hello, Tanya Renee. You making people literally sick with that mess you got going on over there. And you know you're doing it. Because Sonny, when we go over there and we look, we break down the psychogenealogy and we break it down these psychosomatic illnesses, these doctors have already said they know what it is. They telling you they know they making you sick. It's astounding when you see it. Even that comes with an amount of rage and grief that you would knowingly do this and continue to do it. That's why Miss Penny can come here and say no. It's not out of being mean. It's out of understanding what I know. Okay? That's why Miss Penny can sit here and say no, it's closed. Don't like when they, and try to impose themselves. Don't hate them, but you need to go do your own ancestors' work because this is we doing. We trying to heal over here. That's what's going on. We're trying to heal from everything that happened to us. And then you think your pale face can just squish in here. No, it cannot. Get somewhere and sit down. Go over there. Go try to hear your ancestors and figure out why they do the things they do because you got some heavy stuff you got to deal with. Because you got all types of what you psychopathic uh in your DNA, all type of psychopathic vibrations and frequencies in your DNA. You need to go deal with that and understand, try to figure out why you got all those psychopathic tendencies like that in your DNA. Why you want to impose yourself on people of color after your ancestors did that to them, like you're not aware of that, like that didn't just happen. Okay? So, that I have to break it down to them like that. Because evidently you're not looking at what's going on. And then talking to my own people, when I go to talking to them, removing blocks and doing readings and things like that, uh, making them aware of what was passed on to them. And it's not uncommon to see some of this dysfunction in our family. A lot of us are coming forward saying, hey, it was SA in my family. I was abused this way, that way, that way. That is all, and believe it or not, if your ancestors was essayed for 400-500 years and beat and called dogs, because these are narcissistic people doing them like that, you don't think some of those narcissistic traits was going to make it into their family? Abusers create abusers. Okay, that's what happened there. They couldn't always go get help. So what did they do? They reached for hoodoo. Okay, so I can break it down like that. And if you're interested in learning hoodoo like that and this resonates with you and you want to learn the right way, you don't want to get out there and start doing these spells and stuff and you don't know what energies that you're working with, how this is showing up in your mind. Because I tell you, every time you reach for a hex and do a hex on somebody, you best believe you're working with those lower frequencies. And that's what you're going to attract. And so you need to know how to do that, how to go into that and come out of that. There's a way to go in and do hex work and a way to come out of that. Doing it in a safe way. Hello, Sinbad. Hello, Mary Gillum. Hello, Spirit First. There is again, uh again, a scientific way, a structure to do that. You don't just be doing that, and it wasn't meant to use that way in the first place. In hoodoo, much emphasis is often placed on herbs, roots, candles, rituals, but beneath every workings lies a truth that cannot be overlooked. The mind is the most powerful tool we possess, and that's where all your conjure gonna be coming from. Now, before I go on, did anyone have any questions about anything I just talked about when I talked about psychogenealogy, when I talk about psychosomatic illnesses? Because again, I can answer any questions. Been doing this a long time. I had to use this to heal myself. Still using hoodoo to heal myself every day. Hello, Bees Rex. No questions? Let's see, I know a lot of people haven't talked about this part. They come here and they've showed you little things with spells and psalms and things like that. Our community, we go deep. We want you to fully understand. So we talk about hoodoo in all its fullness. We don't just talk about one thing. We talk about hoodoo in all its fullness. So you can use hoodoo to heal yourself. You can use hoodoo to shift some things in your life if things are going bad with you. You can use hoodoo to heal your mind. You know what I'm saying? You gonna learn how to use hoodoo in a variety of ways over there, and not just going on your table lighting a candle. You will learn how you can use it every day. It's so useful. That's why hoodoo can be practiced on the side any religion. It's more than what you think. Okay. Our thoughts carry energy, and that energy has the ability to shape our lives, influence outcomes, and either heal or harm us. A healthy mind is the foundation of effective root work, because hoodoo is not just about what we do with our hands, it's about what we carry in our hearts and direct in our minds. You got some people, that's all they think is negative thoughts. They can't get it together. They get on their table and they want to do this work, but they can't again, ground those thoughts long enough to focus on the work that they want to do. Is it their fault? Absolutely not. Okay, it's important that your intentions, your heart, and your mind be right when you're doing this kind of work. Hello, Kimmy. It's very important that your mind be right. I can't emphasize that enough. Okay, so it starts right in your mind. I just did a beautiful lecture about the mind, just like the Bible said, though a man think it, that's what he is. Whatever you think you are, that's what you are, because you're creating it. And once you get over here and start working with these energies like this, you have to remember that you are responsible for what you create. You're responsible. Whatever you create, you open your mouth and you're creating that. You hold yourself accountable and you're responsible for that. See, that's the thing with magic people don't understand. That's why when you get over here, and you've heard me say this on the TikTok channel, I mean my TikTok page, a lot of hoodoo hat requires you to keep your mouth closed so you don't keep crossing up yourself and messing stuff up. And you will understand that once you start going through our Know Thyself course, because you will be having to sit there and have conversations with yourself. You'll see how beneficial it is to keep your mouth closed. And you might start noticing your thinking and your speaking and how you start crossing yourself up. You'll probably be doing a lot of uncrossing baths before you do anything, because you be unintentionally crossing yourself up sometimes and you don't know it. You don't do it on purpose. But we have to slow down and change the way we think and change the way we speak. Okay. And it takes a time to, again, program a magical mind, get your mind back healthy, back to its natural state, because they have programmed us that we are separated from all these natural elements when in fact we are not. And hoodoo brings you back home to where you need to be. Every thought is a vibration. When we focus on our thoughts with clarity and intention, we create a current that direct energy towards manifestation. This is why intention setting is vital in hoodoo practice. Without clear thought, the work becomes scattered. But with discipline, thought, prayers, and petitions and conjure take root and grow. That's why it takes, again, sitting down somewhere, getting your mind quiet and studying and reading. You think you know, but a lot of people they don't want to sit down and read. They don't want to. You want somebody else. I tripped out on these people because I've had people to do me like this. I've had people to come in my shop one time, many times, and want to know things about magic or hoodoo, and think that I can tell them things within the hour or two of them coming in contact with me, and that's just not possible. I can't tell you everything. I wish I could, but again, this is something that has to be experienced. No matter how many books you read, you're not going to fully understand it until you start applying it. I hope that made sense to some of you. Without clear thought, the work becomes scattered. Okay, I read that part. Negative thinking, on other hand, can undo our own workings. If we speak curses over ourselves and doubt, fear, or self-hatred, we reinforce the very chains our ancestors struggled to break. So a healthy mind is going to be imperative, because that's how your ancestors going to be talking to you through all these high frequency thoughts and ideas that come through your head. Okay. And if you know that you're having all these lower frequency thoughts and stuff through your head, then you know you're messing with, again, a lower level spirits. And what we're trying to do is get our mind, because again, these are how some of these energies your ancestors going to be speaking to you through your mind and emotions. And if you don't have those intact and they are not healthy, you're going to be missing messages or misinterpreting them or not even know what's going on. And so when you get over there and start doing the shadow work, you start to purge all the toxicity out of you, all the you purge all the negative thoughts out of you, because that's what happens when you get to talking. You, again, you're purging this stuff. This is how powerful your words is when you start speaking it and dispelling it. Okay, so we work with our mind and start dispelling it. Then we go in emotionally. We go through the grief, we go through the crying, we go through that self-realization. There's a lot of purging that happens. And then we sit down and we take a a self inventory of the things that we have done to people, not just what we have people have done to us, but we look at ourselves and not blame. Hello, Queen J9. Hello, Marie Broader. Hello, Shana Montan. Hello, Tanya Renee. Hello, TikTok family. Hello, YouTube family. This is the most important part, but this part you don't like. This part don't nobody like. It's not this the part that nobody like. They don't want to sit down nowhere and try to figure out what's going on with them and get that ego in check. Don't nobody want to do that. They want to feel powerful and feel like they Superman and pick up this stuff and don't understand what they got going on. And then they come to a stop where your ego is trying to run the show, because we have not sat with ourselves and gained the wisdom and the fruits of the spirit. Okay, you see that? I see it happen all the time. I see it happen all the time. And then you could tell people, I have sit up there and tell people, gave them a reading, telling them what to do, and they still make a choice for toxicity. See, I don't even know why you would want to, pick something like that up, because if you keep doing stuff like this and you don't fully understand it, usually people start messing themselves up. That's what happens. Then they have to go to somebody like me or another spiritualist so they can get them back in alignment and fix them. That's usually what happens. So understand what you're doing. Understand how that work works and what energies and thought forms you have to work with when you're doing that work. because everything is frequency and vibration. And behind every thought, you best believe it's a spirit that come with it. Okay? You best believe that there's a spirit to come with it. A spirit that's going to be attracted to those vibrational thoughts. That is why we try to raise our frequency over there, and I get you right to working with angels and doing rituals to raise your mental and spiritual frequency to help you get in alignment and make the shifts. Hello, Curly Top. That's what we do over there. Hoodoo understand healing as a holistic. Our ancestors knew that what what the mind carries, the body will express. It will. So when you see these diseases that come on, I'm not saying everybody. This is not for everybody. But you definitely will see it if you make the connections and you start looking at your disease. You will start making some connections with some of the trauma that you have experienced in your life that is set up in your body. If you sit down long enough and start looking at all the trauma that you experienced, you'll start understanding more about your disease or illness. I promise you will. Spirits are shaped by thoughts. That's exactly right, time stamping army. It is the spirits are shaped by thoughts. He just said it. Hey, goddess Lasha, Lachey. Okay, you'll start seeing that. See, our ancestors knew that too. That's why they sat down with this stuff. Because that you start looking at the stuff that you go through and the trauma that they put us through, quite naturally, yes, it's gonna make our body sick. You're gonna have hypertension, heart disease, and everything else, diabetes, and everything else. Because the body's got to express, it got to come out somewhere. I know another method of getting the trauma out. I've seen a lot of people do is again burning it off by exercise. I did that with my shoulder. Yeah, you got to burn it off some kind of way. Get massages, get someone, and I love when you get a massage person that can massage and have Reiki, they can move the energy out of your body. You can feel it move. You can feel the energy in your body even when they massaging it. How it's trying to move around and dodge getting out of there. It is set up in your body, that disease. That's why you have people, they beat cancer, honey. They have to use everything they have, holistic, they mind, and beat that thing, baby. It's totally spiritual. Okay, that's how it got set up in the first place. Somebody playing with your mind, playing with your spirit, and you wasn't able to process it or deal with the energy, and now it is set up in your body, making you sick. I mean, again, I can discuss it here, but if you get over there in our community, I'm gonna break it all the way down to you and show you, let you see it with your own big beautiful eyes, beloved. I'm gonna let you see it. Okay, and Miss Penny ain't just talking outside of her neck. I ain't been doing this for nothing. Okay, been on this path for a long time, and I wouldn't tell you nothing wrong, beloved. Wouldn't tell you nothing wrong. So might not like the messenger, may not like the way it come out my mouth, but I'm not lying. Okay. Persistent worry and fear often lead to illness while hope and faith strengthen the spirit. When we cultivate a healthy mind through meditation, prayer, affirmation, journaling, and spiritual baths, we not only shift our inner landscape, but also align our spirit with divine power. A clear, calm mind makes it easier to hear the whispers of our ancestors and discern spiritual guidance. And that's one thing I had very hard trouble uh, regulating my emotions. I had suffered so much trauma. It was so hard for me to just keep my inner peace until I started working again the Know Thyself Shadow Work course. When I started working that course, I gained more control over my being. I was able to keep my peace. and not really get uh so highly anxious the way I used to get. I can stay calm through a situation and be like, Okay, I know my ancestors are here. I know this problem can be resolved. I just don't have the answer right now, so I'm gonna wait for them to get me the answer." See, you start to trust, you start building your faith, and when you do that, every time the ancestors will show up. But when you're in survival mode and your emotions and stuff running high, spirit can't get you the messages because again, you're so anxious. You're in survival mode. Quite frankly, you're fearful. You're stuck in a PTSD cycle. And we don't even know that we're stuck in a PTSD cycle. We recycle these feelings all over again. We don't even know it. Okay, and it's being done to us not just on individual level, but it's being done to us on a collective level as well. I know you see that, beloved. I know you see it. And playing, and then keep playing with us like that. Keep on playing. They just keep on playing. Hello, Blake. Hello, what's that? Putin Depote. Hello, Juicy. And they keep playing with you like that. Honey, you gonna need this. You keep your mind right to keep you grounded, uh, and keep you open to solutions and answers, divine guidance. They got you all anxious. You don't know what's gonna happen from 1 minute to the next. And they did that. This is why our ancestors they said, "Oh no, I got something for you, honey. I'm gonna go over here and get these herbs, and I'm gonna be working with these things that's alive, these spirits to keep myself in alignment. That's what I'm gonna do." And that's what our ancestors did. Now, I ain't gonna go to your doctor because I know your doctor. They don't like me. I got my own medicine, and I know my mother. She did. She didn't like hospitals. She didn't like doctors. Okay, I lived it. I've seen them be scared to go to a doctor that didn't look like them, and then when they found a doctor that looked like them, all the black people in the town tried to go to the black doctor. They were sure like that in Arkansas with Dr. Bedden. Dr. Bedden had so many black patients. Why? Because he was a black doctor, and these people of color did not trust doctors that didn't look like them, and for a very good reason. Okay, so they didn't trust them, and some of them, if things was, if they had an illness that was too critical, some of them couldn't go to a doctor. They had to go to a veterinarian. I know if you've heard that before, some of them had to go to see a veterinarian to be treated because they couldn't go to a doctor. Have you heard that before? Has anyone ever heard that before? Because that's a part of our history. Okay, that is a part of our history. Now, eh, you know, uh, y- your mind. I know you think I thought the same thing. I thought my mind was in real good shape. I thought I was doing the thing, been doing tarot for a long time until I hit that shadow work, and that shadow work set me down and leveled me up. But in my mind, before the shadow work, I was just going on by my business, thought I was doing all right, even though my angels like, you need to heal, you need to heal, you need to heal. And I'm like, from what? I was totally in denial about the intergenerational trauma until I sat down and started looking at the family dynamics, the family pathology. Sat down and started writing about my childhood, my experiences, things like that. I was like, wow, no wonder. Yeah, I do need to heal. I just been trying to keep on going. That's survival. That's survival. I was stuck in a survival mode. And then when I look at all the damage, hi Red, when I looked at all the damage, we can say what other people done to us, but trauma will make you self-destructive, and it will have you self-sabotaging yourself in ways you can't even imagine, that you don't even want to see. And I looked at all the ways I had self-sabotaged myself, I had self-destructive behavior. And where did I get it from? I started looking at that family because, honey, my family was rough. Honey, them folks is violent. Them people put their hands on you and just act a fool. I'm sure all of us got a lot of us got family members like that, but just crazy as hell. Put their hands on you in a minute, okay? Just crazy. Had been through so much. And that's what I inherited. So I had to move that stuff out of me and then look at the things not only was done to me, but because I had been abused, some of the things I had did to other people because I was in survival mode in my trauma. Then turn around and forgive that person that I was because that's where I was at that time. I didn't know what I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know what I didn't know. I was stuck in survival mode. In that time, that's the only thing I could see. I didn't see no other options. And forgiving that person that I had to be at that time, because at that time, that's what I thought I had to be. Yes, hey, yeah, hey, Red. Yes, and them folks are something crazy over there. I look back at myself and I look at some of the things I do, honey. I be doing a life review on myself, especially going back into my 20s and 30s. Honey, I was crazy. I was just like my folks. I was just like my folks. Then mine put my hands on you. Then mine put my mouth on you. Could lay you down, honey, with my mouth and with my hands. I honey, it wasn't right. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. I could look back at myself and say it was not right. And still there were other psychological pathologies that was keeping toxicity in the family because a lot of their minds were sick. You'll find yourself, to setting the boundaries for yourself not to get engaged with people like that. And that's what I did. Hi, Kathy Harris. That's what I did. So you have to, and remember, when we're setting boundaries, and now let me say this again, boundaries are not for the other person, they are for you. Boundaries are saying, hey, I am not going to do that because when I do that, I get out of pocket. So I'm gonna stay over here to myself. I'm gonna deal with me. Okay. Even when the person is trying to get you to engage and you've already set a boundary for yourself, we don't blame it on them. We don't say, I'm placing a boundary because you did such and such and such. No. You say, look, I'm getting uneasy, when we do this right here. And so for my best interest, I'm going to do this. That's a boundary. It is to safeguard yourself, not for the other person. And what I'm seeing here is people saying, oh, don't come over here. That's my boundary. No. If you don't want them to come over here, you get yourself over there because you're protecting yourself. That is your boundary. You have already told them what it is and what's going on with you. That is how you set about that is a boundary. It is not for the other person. Boundaries are to protect you, to keep you in alignment. Okay, say you going with this friend, they always do the same thing, they tick you off. And you've decided, hey, I'm not gonna do that no more because I don't like the way I feel when that happens. So I know I don't like the way that feels. I'm just not gonna do that. That's the best boundary I can put for myself. You don't need to do that. You can't control another person, but you can control yourself. Okay? So the boundary is always for you, for your protection, not for the other person. I think people get that confused. Okay? Because you get some people, you think boundaries is trying to control somebody else, and it's not for that. So the boundary is for you. You know how you gonna take care of yourself if something was a rise, and you're not gonna get yourself in there. That's the boundary for you. That's just a no-no for you. Because you have no control over what another person do, but you do have control over you. I hope that made sense. Okay, because you see some people trying to use that in a way that is unhealthy Okay. Now, if there's an issue there, you know, some people are using it to escape accountability and responsibility. But you need to go ask your therapist what is a boundary. When you're placing boundaries, the boundaries is for you, not for the other person. If you don't want to hear from that person, you don't want to talk to that person or whatever, keep your mouth closed. That's a boundary for you. You just said, I'm not going to engage. Okay, because that's your boundary. You have control over your energy, your space, your mind over you. I hope that made sense. It's some people get that wrong. But they don't understand it. Okay. I got it. I didn't understand it at first. Then I sat down and I was like, wait a minute, this for me. I have no control over them. You need to just again save yourself. You know this makes you like this. Don't do this again. This is a boundary for you. Go do this. Go sit down and be over here. Don't get yourself wrapped up in that. Guarding the mind as a sacred work. Hoodoo teaches us protection is not just physical, but also mental. Just as we might protect our home with herbs and charms, we must protect our minds from negative influence. That includes gossip, because some of us, we love gossip. We love some of these toxic shows. We just love it. We love messiness. We love pettiness. We live for that. I know you don't want to hear this. I know you don't. But sometimes you be crossing yourself up when you participate in this, and then you want to go pick up some magic after you have participated in this. Gossip, toxic relationships, self destructive patterns, all these cloud the spirit and weaken the work. Sit with it for a minute. I know you don't like it. See, that's why you got to be careful about what you're doing. You got to be careful about what you're doing and what you're thinking. I used to love watching messy shows like I used to like watching them too. That was my guilty pleasure too. I started cutting myself off from that. That honey, I probably watch more cartoons and comedy more than anything now. But most of what I be doing is reading. Okay, had to start again because again when you are entertaining this, you're putting this stuff in your spirit. And psychology means the study of the soul. So when you're taking this into your mind, you are slowly taking in poison. And you're programming your subconscious mind to act like that and normalize that behavior. Just because everybody doing it don't mean it's right. We have popularized sickness. That's what then happened. You ain't gonna see it until you start getting your mind well and you start seeing how sick folks is. You're not gonna see it. Beloved, I'm so sorry it's like that, but it's the truth. And I have to tell you the truth. And you got some people up here when I see some of these spiritualists come up here and only talk about baneful work like that. Why would you even be talking about that when these folks need to be doing this to fix their life and heal themselves? Why are you even implanting that in their mind like that? You be careful about who be coming here and talking to you. Hi, Denise Miller. Be careful, beloved. 'Cause I see these ankles and stuff. People they come at. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not healthy. This is kind of alarming to me. Okay, when I said Black America death by entertainment, that's what's happening there. Them folks come in there and mess y'all mind up. Some people love Beyonce more than they love themselves. Don't know why. And the love that you giving and all the admiration you giving to them, you need to be giving it to yourself. You don't know how much love and admiration you need that you giving to somebody else. People need to start talking about the after effects of doing certain workings. Yep. Yep. And I like I tell you, like I tell them over there, Start getting up 3 or 5 between the hours of 3 or 5 o'clock doing your work and see them shifts. Watch and see what happens. And especially at Hoodoo, it's so profound when it happens, your mouth just drops. When you get the results, you just like, what the? Yep. That's what happens when you do the work. I see it every day. Okay. That's what happens when you do the work, when you get in alignment. When you're consistent at it. Persistent. This is, media is a key to the cyberspace, the same space that the US government started a whole department for SpaceX. And honey, they even invest a lot of money in these movies and stuff to keep you crazy. Okay, they invest a lot of money in Hollywood and stuff to keep you crazy, to keep you programmed with their craziness. And then in some of those movies, they like Hollywood love using a lie to tell the truth. I mean, use the truth. Yeah, they use the truth to tell a lie, and the politicians use the lie to tell the truth. You see more truth going on in Hollywood that you're gonna see it in your government. Okay, that's just the truth of it. It's sad, but it's true. It's nothing. The best way to get a fight this is to get in alignment with your ancestors and get your mind right. Because if your mind right, can't nobody play with your spirit. Okay, you got somebody playing with your mind, they are playing with your spirit. They are corrupting you from the inside out, and you're not aware of it because again, they didn't properly educate us about illnesses and and how fragile the mind is. They educate us on that. If we'd have known that, we ain't nowhere in the world, I don't think we'd be doing some of the stuff that we're doing. Okay, but you get re-educated over there. You get even if and I bet anyone who's into magic, any witch or whatever, they'll tell you they had to reprogram their whole mind probably because we're not getting properly educated. We're not. Okay, if we did some of the things we wouldn't even accept, we wouldn't even do. Developing mental discipline, learning to direct our focus and speaking words of life over ourselves is as much hoodoo as lighting a candle, laying down powders. Okay, so your word has power to it. Again, it is a portal, it is a creator. Okay, it is your conjure tool, and it can heal you, it can create. And see, once you know how powerful your mouth is, you be very careful when you open it and how you open it. You be careful with your words, you know. And I think the first time going through this course and seeing people that do the shadow work, the first time I've seen um two healthy people arguing. And I had no idea they were arguing because it was so healthy because they were only expressing their opinion and their experience. And then the other person would express their opinion and experience. And then they would just go their separate ways. And I was like, what did I just witness there? I was witnessing a healthy disagreement with somebody expressing how they feel and their experience, and each person was being heard. There was no hard feelings, and they just walked away. It's a beautiful thing when you can experience that. Have emotional regulation, honor your experience, honor your feelings, and then move on, because both parties was heard, and then you let the spirit take hold and give you the results. Okay, because everybody has again expressed their feelings. I said cyberspace, yet I could have used virtual space. Information is alive and has power. They don't want us tapping into that. No, they don't. Okay, that's why they're doing a lot of censoring here on TikTok. I've heard people say, "Hey, we're not getting a lot of this news. They're keeping it, they're censoring it, they're shadow banning it. And so they're coming here having to use these different coded words to tell us what's going on. Okay. And I don't see, and like they said over there, people, that lady said, somebody said there was a real estate agent, and all these millionaires in America is selling their homes. They getting ready to do an exodus. So I told y'all over there, it's either gonna be an exodus. You understand me? It's either gonna be a Moses. You understand me? Or it's gonna be a Haiti. You got two choices in that. And see, I'm seeing most people doing the exodus. I sure wish it was a Haiti though. That's just my personal opinion. I wish it was a Haiti. Okay, I really wish it was a Haiti, but it's gonna become an exodus over there. But it can become a Haiti depending on how you want to look at that. But I loved when that how them ICE people put them their hands on them Haiti people, and them Haiti people put their hands right back on them. No, you will not put your hands on me, and I won't put my hands back on you. You are sadly mistaken. And if you touch somebody over here, all of us gonna put our hands on you. So I mean, and I like that tenacity. I like that revolutionary mindset because that's what needs to happen. Hello, Miss Scarily Div. Our ancestors have become media information. They've transitioned into forms that can ever exist forever. They sure can. They sure can time stepping army. So that's the kind that I don't think we're ready for that. And why I say we're not ready for that, because of the severe PTSD we are up under. And they keep keeping us in that cycle. We freeze, or we gonna take flight or fight. That's the F's that you have going on in PTSD. First, you're just freezing. Now you're fawning. Okay, you free. You don't know what to say. Everybody froze. Now you're fawning. You're trying to make good of everything, make light of everything, but you know that you're in a dangerous situation. Either you're gonna flee, fight. Okay, so when you understand the recycle emotions and behaviors of PTSD, you can clearly see it over there. But if you don't know that, then you'll dismiss it. Then once you start doing your work, you'll start to see again. When you start healing yourself, you start seeing sick people everywhere. That's something I can say. It's just like when you wake up and what that boy said in the six is. He said, "I see dead people. I see sick people." You're gonna be able to see sick people from a mile away when you start healing. Why? Because now you a healer. You official healer now. You know dis-ease, you know negative energy when you see it. Can't nobody pull the wool over your eyes because you know what's real, because you had to heal yourself. And there's no way in the hell you're gonna take yourself back up in them circumstances like that. Hello, Mercy 22. Okay. You start seeing it everywhere. You can't unsee it. That's why you have these psychologists. You see, I wish they'll let more psychologists talk and uh give you their theory and their synopsis on the mental health of the Americans today, because it would blow your mind. Okay? Especially the black health professionals, black mental health professionals. Because most of these people, they see what you can't see. They are seeing the spirits of people. When they can tell you about the minds of people and what's going on, they're telling you what's going on in their spirit. Okay, hello, Ann Leganese, Mercy. That's what they're telling you, beloved. That you're not seeing it that way because they got us so disconnected from ourselves. We don't understand the magnitude of what they're saying. You're not going to really understand it until you sit down and start understanding yourself and trying to heal yourself. And then it all comes in 3D right in your face. You're just like, wow, how could I not see that? It's right there, beloved. It's been there. Okay? When we heal our minds, we heal our bloodline. Our ancestors endured trauma that often forced them into survival thinking, fear, silence, or self neglect. That's what happens there. And our ancestors was fighting, I mean, marching and fighting to get this stuff done, and it just never got done. We're still dealing with it. Okay, that trauma, that task got passed on to us. By choosing to nurture healthy thoughts, we shift the legacy of our lineage. Positive thoughts are not just personal; they ripple backward to the heal ancestral. They ripple backward to heal ancestral wounds and forward to strengthen future generations. Because just remember, if we wouldn't have had Malcolm X, if we wouldn't have had Martin Luther King, and many, many other revolutionaries, there's no way we'll be standing strong today. We're standing strong today because these ancestors had healthy minds. They had a fighting heart, and we were able to again grab that spirit of resilience and determination and still be here today. I don't think we would be the people who we are without those revolutionary icons in our culture. Hi, Arlene. Hello, Summer Simpson. Hello, In Tune with. Hello, uh, Win Russell. Okay, in a way, we would be the people that we are today. It is them that inspire us to keep going. Because when we look at their stories and we see that some of these people try to do the things that they do, we say, "Oh no, you won't do that to us because our ancestors went through this, we went through that, we already fought for this, and you're not gonna treat us any kind of way." So they done already told us how to stand on business. They done already showed us how to stand on business. So we know how to stand on business now. We know how to demand respect. Are you gonna respect us? We built this country. What are you talking about? Okay. And that's why you'll see a lot of people, a lot of immigrants come to America, and you'll have them say, "Hey, y'all got to give credit to the Black Americans because without them, we wouldn't be here." And you absolutely will not be in America without but without the work of our ancestors and the work we still do today. I think, looking at that, I think we're the only country that made those type of progress when it comes to our rights and being respected. Because we mean it by every means necessary, honey. We had the Black Panthers out there. We had a variety of organizations dealing on the on the scene, on the case. They was on the case. They made this their life mission to seek liberation and freedom. And Hoodoo is all about that. And so when you are picking it up, you are going back to the practice of your ancestors. You are connecting with their power, their resilience. That's what you're doing. And so it doesn't mean anything if you're not going to honor that. It's only so far you're going to get with it if you don't know that. Okay? And I believe that's the most important part of the practice is knowing where it comes from and knowing who you are. It gives you that much more confidence in standing in your hoodoo practice because you know you standing on the shoulder of the ancestors and you know what you got. At its core, hoodoo is not just about magic, it is about transformation. The true power of conjure comes when the mind, body, and spirit are aligned. A healthy mind magnifies the power of prayer, sharpens intuition, and anchors us in faith. When we learn to discipline our thoughts, we discover that we are not powerless. We are creators, healers, and vessels of divine will. That's who we are. Okay. And we're going to go deeper into, like I said, we're going to go deeper into the psychogenealogy. Our first course is going to be September 6th, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Of course, it's going to be 8 a.m. my time because I'm in Thailand. So I'm about 12 hours ahead of you guys. So, but yeah, we're going to have our first meeting and we're going to go right into work. We're not going to waste any time. I'm going to pop it off for you so you can start, I already start doing your work. Okay. Again, the workbook is over there. As soon as you get over there, there's a workbook, a post over there called Know Thyself. And on that post is the book, the video, and the lecture to start getting you started on your shadow work. And the first meeting that we have, I've already have homework for you to do the psychogenealogy questions in there, because you will be coming up answering those questions, sharing those answers to those questions with us. You already got homework when you get over there. Okay. You'll be going over the first part of the workbook, which is the psychogenealogy, breaking down your family tree and looking at the characteristics and psycho genealogy and pathology of your family. What I have over here is psychology is the art of asking questions. It is get into our mind, asking our questions. Why you do that? Why you be acting like that? Why did you say that? Really questioning who we are and the things that we do. We can get so wrapped up in what other people do. We love distracting ourselves and focus on other people's business and what they got going on and giving them advice like that. We don't take a minute. We spent the time on ourselves that we spend on other people. Oh my God, the growth that you will see in yourself. But they got us so distracted. They got us distracted from ourselves. They work hard at doing that. Uh, it says that you, Miss Penny, for your live chat. I like to know the exact day and times that you come on air and YouTube. My name is Lamar Curtis. I try to come over here, get on here between 8 and 8:30, at least every other day. So if I'm on here today, see, it's Sunday where you are, but it's Monday where I'm at. Okay. So you probably won't see me again probably till Tuesday, because I come over here every other day. Well, Wednesday. But your day, if you're in America, it might be Tuesday, but it's gonna be Wednesday my day and Tuesday your day. So it is, well, I guess tomorrow for you. Okay, tomorrow evening for you. So our times are different because I'm in Thailand. But I try to come here every other day around 8 and 8:30. I hope that helped you, Lamar Curtis. Thank you so much for coming to the live stream. Okay, so know what's wrong with you. Uh, we still have this. We still are working with a lot of trauma and trying to get that trauma out of our body. And some of our nervous system, and they know this, they have messed up our nervous system with this constant uh this trauma that they put us through. And that's why they say, well, black people don't do high adrenaline sports. We absolutely don't. Why the hell we do that when we our adrenaline run high every day? When we turn on the TV and walk out the front door, got to worry about where we going and all this kind of stuff. Why would we participate in that? We trying to save our life. Here y'all is doing bungee jumping, jumping from mountains and crawling up mountains. And here we don't need to do that because we trying to survive every damn day. We don't need to go up there and play with our life. We know our life being played with every day. So no, we don't want to do high adrenaline sports. Hell, it's high adrenaline just to walk out your damn front door. Okay? So, and they noticed that about us. No, we don't play with our life like that. No, a lot of us don't play with our life like that. Okay? We got enough high adrenaline sports just looking at that TV and walking out that front door. So hell no, we not gonna be jumping from bungee cords and climbing high mountains and altitudes, putting our life at risk. We go through that every day. Y'all don't do that. Y'all do it because you don't understand that. If you understood understood that, you wouldn't be bungee jumping and going up these high ass mountains doing all types of crazy stuff. Just like what you had them going into that remember them people that got in that submarine and we ain't seen them folks? I ain't seen no black people on that submarine. Was any black people on that submarine, y'all? Them folks messed theyself up. Okay. They say them people imploded, went down there, ain't seen it, and didn't even have the right equipment to be going down there in the first place. The thing was malfunctioning anyway. I ain't seen them people. Black people, you won't see us do too many things like that. Okay? Them folks paid. hundreds of $1,000s to go down there to unalive themselves, if that was even true. But that's what they did. Okay, it's just certain things that we don't do. You know, look at your folks and see what we don't do and what we do. All right. So, but if you're interested in a tarot reading, I do those. Those are $30. You get an hour, $30. I've just finished up a couple of astrological charts. And what I'm noticing in a lot of those charts, you know, because when I do your natal chart, that's your root work. I'm gonna go in there from a hoodoo perspective, and I'm gonna take out all the work that you need to be doing, the shadow work, the ancestors work, which is gonna put you where you need to be. Takes all the guessing work out of what you should be doing. Now I've sent a couple of these off, and a lot of people say they found it very helpful. It resonated with them, you know, on a very high level. And so they take it and they start doing their work with themselves. It makes your shadow work, takes all the guessing work out of shadow work or the root work that resonates with you when I break that chart all the way down. Because what is your natal chart again? That's your fingerprint. That's your unique print in the root of who you are. And so when you understand that chart and what's in it, because every time I see it and look at people's shadow work and they start doing shadow work, it lines up with what your astrology chart says. It usually does. Okay. And that kind of gives you a head start and put everything in perspective. All right. And don't be alarmed if you have a lot of shadow work in there during this time, a lot of ancestors work, because this is the time for it. Thank you for your spiritual support with the live chat. You have a wonderful blessing from the creator of a human being life. Thank you so much, Mark Curtis. Okay. So again, uh, taking that time and you know to learn more about yourself, and that's what that chart does. Because when I give it back to you, I'm gonna give it back to you in hoodoo form. Okay, you're gonna understand everything what's going on in your chart and what that stuff means and what you need to be doing. That service is only $10. It takes me a day or so to break it all down and get it back to you. But I guarantee you it's gonna bring in so much clarity and help things come together for you. It just makes it a lot more easier. You got your chart. Some of y'all got your chart and you don't know what to do with it. You know you got these personalities and characters, weaknesses and strengths, but you don't know what that means. How does that apply spiritually? I will help you with that. You're gonna know what to do with your moon sign. You're gonna know what to do with your Venus. You're gonna know what to do with your Mars. You're gonna know what to do with each one of those houses. You're gonna know, okay, what kind of work you need to be doing. And that's what I give back to you. And like I said, I think it's very, very beneficial. If you are interested in hoodoo, authentic, real wholeness of hoodoo, not a whole bunch of spells, because that's not helping you. It's not. It seems fun now, but in the long run, you lack a real foundation. So when something do go wrong, you don't know how to troubleshoot. You don't know what 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 happened because you don't understand the components. So if you want to understand hoodoo and you got these spells going and you want to know, if something happened, what can you do? That's what that's there for. Okay? So you can fully understand your options and how to troubleshoot if you start having some trouble in your work, because you have a solid foundation to go back to and work from. You know exactly what to do. Is there a lot of resources over there? Absolutely. Because I know everybody learns differently. Okay. And I know everybody don't like the same thing. So there are a variety of resources over there to help you tap into your own magic and to heal. Now, in the ritual and conjure membership, I place a lot of shadow work resources over there. I bring up shadow work. However, that I leave that up to the practitioner to do that independently. But do know I do post the information. We have conversations about it over there. Now, if you're a person that wants it all, you want to do in conjunction, you want to do the shadow work, which I think that tier has so much value to it. You want to do the shadow work, you want to learn the conjure, you want to learn the rituals, you want to learn all of it. Get in the Know Thyself membership because it has all of it in there. Okay, it consists of all of it. Okay, we go deeper in there. And I think that course too is good for people if you are a root worker and you are a healer and you're trying to properly diagnose illnesses through a holistic approach, then that Know Thyself is going to be good for you because we break it down in such a way where you can understand illnesses just by looking at people's personalities and the way they regulate their emotions. And you know, and just by when they telling you what they got, you know what exactly what kind of case to open in on them to start working on them. I think this is great for root workers because they get a chance to look at the body and the mind from a pure spiritual perspective and understand and gain more understanding about it. So it will help you treat your clients a lot better once you understand the workings because we break it all the way down over there. Because you got some root workers, they treat patients. You know, they see people, they prescribe teas, they prescribe herbal medicine. That's the thing that they do. Like I say, you get in hoodoo, you can't have one without the other because it's a whole modality, it's a whole healing modality. Like I say, the more I start looking at hoodoo, it started looking like shamanism. I said, because this is a way of life. Like I can't separate any of this. All this comes together. I can't just do this, do this, do this. There's different components to it, but when you start doing the work, it all comes together because you need all of it. Okay. Hey, Spirit First. Hey, Shady Berger. Hello, Natasha. Hello, Madam Warnock. Hello, user 4438. Okay. Now you just get a little bit with the Psalms, the candles, the jars, and you know, you're just get that's the tip of the iceberg of hoodoo. Okay. You're gonna have to go in there and do your work if you want to perfect them things. Don't be scared. Okay. And I'm certainly gonna provide a space because I love healing circles. I love that because there is a deep kinship that happens when people get in the healing circle and start healing together. It's like almost finding a soul family. It's like seeing your family for the first time. You really start understanding um, what soul family really means when you get in a healing circle because you begin to truly see each other. Okay, so and I just love it. I love it, you know, because it not only grows the people in the group, but after facilitating groups like this for so long, I've seen how it grows me and opens me up to many more experiences and wisdom. Because it's I guarantee you the ancestors gonna show up in their group. I always do. Spirit I always show up in those groups. Okay, and I'm very passionate about it. Uh, I even wrote a book on the course. So if you say, "Hey, I don't want the course," I wrote a book. It's in my link tree in TikTok. It's called "Heal Thyself." Okay, shadow work workbook. Got all of my exercises and things like that in the book. The same thing we're going to do here through the workshops and break down the book a little bit at a time and do the workshops. So the exercises in the book. So again, if you're trying to heal, I don't recommend anyone be jumping in to magic and not trying to heal because you're gonna mess yourself up with those lower frequencies like that, and you're gonna conjure up something you ain't trying to conjure up, or you're gonna cross yourself up and not be meaning to do it. I see it too many times. People trying to take a shortcut. They want magic to be like you pop it in the microwave, come back out, and it's all done. And no, it's not like that. There is a actual scientific message, a method. And a lot of people say, well, there is no initiation in hoodoo. I guarantee you, when you start going through shadow work and working on yourself, it's going to feel like initiation. I guarantee you, because it's certain frequencies you're not going to be able to reach until you do the shadow work. I know it. I experienced. I'm not telling you nothing I heard. I'm telling you what I know. That's why hoodoo is closed. There ain't no initiation over here, because guess who initiating them spirits? Them spirits ain't gonna let you excel. You got spiritual courts, you got spiritual guides that's watching you. Okay, and it's a certain type of criteria you have to meet before you start accessing these higher frequencies. You got to be in alignment with them. That's why we have universal laws. That's why we have them. Okay, anything somebody has to ask me about hoodoo, about our spiritual roots hoodoo community over there on Patreon. Okay, and I'll come here a couple of more times, you know, to keep you informed. However, I do know once that know thyself, those words, hello, yellow, hello, sweetie. Um, I do know when that know thyself workshop start, if you're not in it from the beginning, it might have you lost, and then you won't be able to really do a lot of releasing and purging if you're not in the workshop, because that's when everybody has an opportunity to release and purge. You're going to have to be talking about what's going on with you. And so you'll miss that. And I've been thinking of a way around that, but I haven't resolved that. But it's just best to get over there, before we even start those workshops, or you're going to be behind. And the way it is set up, you have to have. I don't recommend anyone do shadow work by themselves. You just can't, because when your mind's sick, you can't see. So you need a facilitator. Universal laws are things like cause and effect. Okay. I can't name them all here now. Again, there are universal scientific laws that if you do this, this will happen. Okay. All right. There's still laws that govern the universe. There's still order. So if you don't follow those universal laws, let me look over here. I can pull them up real quick. If you don't follow those universal laws and you're not in alignment with them, these energies, then you're not going to get very far. Okay, you got the universal laws of the universe. There's 12 universal laws. Sometimes they're more. You got the law of divine oneness. Let's go down here. The law of vibration, the law of correspondence, the law of attraction, the law of inspired action, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, the law of cause of effect, the law of compensation, the law of relativity, the law of polarity, the law of rhythm. Okay. And then they have one here, the law of gender. But I think that falls up under polarity. It's 12. And so if you're not in alignment with these frequencies, with these universal laws, it's certain things that you're not going to be able to do. Okay? And these are just again natural laws. You see that in Mayat. Okay? They follow. Why do you think their ancient ancestors was following that? Because it kept them in alignment with the universal laws. They knew this. You had to be in a certain alignment for you to open your mouth and stuff start happening. Why? Because you're in alignment with nature. Okay, so now when you start opening your mouth, because you're in alignment, and you observe all of this, you know nature is alive, you know everything is alive, and you have put yourself in alignment, your mind, your body, and the spirit in alignment with it. So now when you start opening your mouth saying stuff, it start happening. You start bringing stuff to form, and you're very careful with how you use your mouth. You're very careful at how you say things. Okay, you're very intentional in how you say it. Okay, so again, this is all about alignment. All about alignment. If you think you can get over here and start doing things and not it be in alignment, again, recognizing those universal laws and getting in alignment, then it's only so far you're gonna get if you don't understand the metaphysical sciences. And this is the science of the mind, the science of the spirit, something we should have been taught at the beginning. Instead, they gave us this religion and kept us disconnected from our true power. And that's why when you see in Kemet, it looked like magic. Everybody was just doing magic. Yeah, it looked like that because everybody was in alignment with nature. Everybody was on a higher frequency. They weren't dealing with a lot of stuff that we're dealing with now. And then and some of these artifacts and monuments that they have was set up to keep high frequencies coming through. They took that all away. Now we got CERNs, we got what they call them, and got them spraying stuff in the air and just everything. Just to keep the vibration low as possible. And our ancestors had things in place and monuments and things in place to keep it in high vibration so everybody will be getting a healthy source of downloads and shifts in their mind. Wasn't that many people sick? Why? Because they were working and thinking out of a higher vibration. You're gonna have less sicknesses when you're again in a high vibration because sickness starts in the mind. They know that. That's why they got to keep you distracted. They got to keep you anxious. They got to keep you again because they literally in the spiritual way they are unaliving you. I don't think you understand the magnitude that they are actually unalive you. They might as well walk up to you and just pull you out because that's what they doing. You see, you don't see it that way because you ain't got your spiritual eyes on. But once you get your spiritual eyes on, you start healing, baby. You won't play with these people at all. You won't play with these people at all. You won't give them a second thought about playing with them because your ancestors be working through you so deep, baby. Honey, they be getting away from you because you're gonna be talking about a matter of fact, and you see them for who they truly are. You're not playing with me. You're not playing with me. That's why I said you ain't playing with me. That's why I got my butt up out of America. Now you're not gonna sit here and play with me. You're not gonna suck me dry like that. You did that to my ancestors. No, I'm not gonna let you do it. You better find somebody else to play with. Why are they doing that though? Want to lower the vibration. They don't want to see you. They don't want you here. They don't want to look at you. They don't want to see you. They're trying to unalive you. They've been doing that for how long? 400, 500 years. They've been trying to do that. Okay, but then they're trying to do it now and make themselves look humane. Make themselves look humane. And them folks already told you that food wasn't a human necessity, wasn't a human rights. They just told you that over there. You heard that? Okay, them folks said food is not a human right. And they claimed, and it tripped me out because America claimed to be a Christian country. That's why I say you need to sit yourself down. You're the last person, Christian. You're the last. You don't need to be talking to nobody about God till you get that country right. You need just sit down. And Christians, because that is your nation's religion, that is your responsibility to set that right. I don't care. Don't get over here telling nobody nothing about Jesus when you can't even fix what's going on over there. Because if that church was that powerful, you would sit that man down somewhere. I don't want to hear it. because you participating in our demise. I don't want to hear it. You are the last people that need to open your mouth and say anything. But you getting paid off with that 503c and all that kind of stuff. So you gonna keep your mouth shut and sacrifice the souls and minds of the people. Now I can't respect you. I want you to sit down and I want you to shut up. Cause you ain't saying the time you supposed to be saying something. This devil, don't let the devil. Well, you let the devil right on in and gave him the key. Now you're getting them water and you're feeding them. So just be on quiet. Y'all don't have nothing to say. You're supposed to be the nation's religion, and here you is to let the devil in the front door. That's the how I see it. I'm gonna see it from your perspective. And you're feeding them, sacrificing souls to them. That's what you're doing. So just sit on down. You come on this app and y'all want to pray him out of there. Got all them churches all over the place, brainwashing sinners, and you can't take down a person who is they. Honey, I got more God in my pinky than he do in his whole body. Sit yourself. You're supposed to be power in their religion. Well, pray him up out of there. You need to have a sit-in or something. I don't know what but you do need to stop coming here trying to tell people what to do and go fix that country, since that's supposed to be the nation's religion. I don't want to hear none of y'all. But no, because you get tax breaks and all this stuff, you don't want to speak on certain things. But you want to come here and ridicule people. Be quiet and sit down. Go fix your country. That's what you go do. That's what you go do. Keep your mouth off people. You got too much to do to be telling somebody and convert somebody into your religion. Give us something to convert some. Let us see you do something right. Ain't nothing to go into because you ain't got no power. You in the business of brainwashing people's minds and taking away their power. I'm gonna keep it real with you. And having them bow down to atrocities. I'm gonna keep it real, And you preachers, you know exactly what you're doing. Some of you Freemasons set up and take an oath, and y'all got the people spiritually sick because y'all done release all those things and spirits that you done conjured up in the lodge upon the people in the church. You ain't praying and fasting for these people, and you drain them even more by trying to suck them dry, economically dry. Cause you think you God, you deserve it. Cause that's what you see up in the lodge. They got that in the lodge. They got the master up in there. Just like they got the Holy See in the church. They have the masters in these lodges. They got to pray to, and they have to obey. Just like he is God. He's the chief master up in the lodge. So no, I don't believe you when you saying, "Oh, this make me a better man," and this gonna make me. No, it don't. You need to get somewhere down and especially people of after the sport, you need to get somewhere and sit down and pick up hoodoo and put that Freemasonry away. Because it's nothing but a blaspheme sort of occultism. They just exposed that his dad was arrested during a KKK rally back in the day. Who was that arrested? Yellow. Who was that arrested? I mean, they got that all up in there, honey. It trips me out. It's the insanity in that. And because a lot of us don't know, we don't see the blasphemy in all of it. We don't see it because we don't understand what is really going on. And once you understand what is really going on, you can start, looking at it for yourself. You know what you're talking about. Like I know what I'm talking about. I don't care what they sitting up here saying. And the lodge ain't this, and the lodge we do this. I don't like people talking that the Freemason is easy. Y'all know damn well that you're doing rituals, occult rituals up in there. You calling on names you don't even know, spirits you don't even know. You're doing all types of high magic, ceremonial magic in there. Matter of fact, y'all go out and, some of the people in there go out and start writing books about occultism because they learn everything in there. Okay, so just cut it out. You know, playing with people's minds and stuff. We know what you're doing up in there. You ain't had nothing. If you wanted to had something, you shouldn't have wrote all these books. Okay? You shouldn't have wrote all these books. And Christians, you say you don't know what's going on? Your preacher do. He's sitting up there knowing he ain't telling you the truth and hiding stuff from you. And you think me picking up some tarot cards gonna send me to hell. No, your ignorance and compliance with ignorance is going if it was a hell, you would be there because you're participating in it. Okay? You don't know nothing about your religion. You don't know nothing about that. You don't know nothing about what you're doing. You just following somebody, worshiping a man. That's what you do. That's what Christianity was set up for, to worship men. And you consistently keep doing it. And every time you keep your mouth closed about what is going on over there politically, you're an accessory to it. You are corrupting the church, even the Catholics, all of you, because you're sacrificing the minds and spirits of people. I'm going to call you out because that's what you're doing. And you keep doing it. And then you wonder why you got a lot of psychotic people over there. Where you got a lot of psychopaths over there running it? Why wouldn't it be psychotic people? Why wouldn't people be mentally sick? That's why I got up out of there, honey. You ain't gonna see how sick you is till you get the hell away from there and start looking at other countries and seeing how they do their people, how they take care of their people. They'll let you know real quick that your country don't give a damn about you once you see how these other countries take care of their people. Gonna let you know real quick your country don't care nothing about you. Never did. Never did. But see, you don't know that because we're so isolated in America. We didn't know nothing about the Scottish people. We had never seen black Scottish people. Yeah, we learned about black Irish. We learned about black Russians. We learned because this is how much they got you isolated. We over here trying to hold hands with them people, find out what they got going on. Cause nobody they don't again they keep you isolated. They keep your mind contaminated. And then they send up. We want them to feel like they free, so we're gonna get us some black celebrities and put them in front of them and bathe them in all these rags, rich looking rags and stuff. Have them focus on. We're gonna sell them a dream that you can have in America if you was to get rich. That's what they have to do. They have to sell you a fantasy. I can't tell you how many people came to America because America sold them a damn fantasy. That's what they have to do. They have to sell you a fantasy of success and good fortune when that stuff don't mount out to a hill of beans because they be lying through their mouth. Talk to some of them immigrants and they'll tell you. Well, they told me it was like this, that everybody was rich over here, and now that should and come over here, it's nothing like that, honey. These folks more richer than you, and y'all sit up and trick people to come into America and sell them a fantasy and come over there. It's not nothing like what you said it was. You seeing it now with your own big beautiful eyes, okay? You seeing it now, and that's why we need hoodoo. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. And the only way I see it, Hoodoo saved my life. To keep saving my life. And maybe if you understand it and incorporate it in your daily life, it'll save your life too. Okay. How does the law of attraction work align with throwing baneful work or any type of work? You have to be in alignment with it. Just like this child. She said she had did a freezer spell on her supervisor because her supervisor was intentionally messing with her. She didn't know what else to do. She wasn't doing anything wrong, but this supervisor just weighing on her, and she had already been healing and working on herself. So she decided to go ahead and put the supervisor in the freezer. Another girl said she did the same thing, and the opposite happened. You know why? Probably because she wasn't in alignment. Probably because it wasn't her supervisor probably getting her butt because she wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing. And now you're trying to freeze somebody. You're trying to freeze somebody that's actually getting on you to not doing what you supposed to be doing. And you're going to try to put them in the freezer. Yeah, it'll backfire. Now, had you been in alignment and that supervisor was actually doing that to you and was giving you a hard time, when you put them in the freezer, it would have worked. But because you wasn't in alignment with the magic and you trying to set, people try to do that. They call themselves being slick, doing stuff like that. You do that, it will backfire. It won't work. It'll turn opposite on you because you wasn't in alignment with the word. I hope that made sense to you, Red. Did that make sense? It ain't gonna do you no good to do no prosperity work if you're not in alignment with the work. You're not trying to find a job. You haven't applied for no applications. You have no portal where the money can come through. But you want to keep on doing prosperity work and not open a portal where the money can come through. You need to be finding a job. You need to be creating something. Okay, it's gonna work, but you got to create a portal where it can come through, where it's gonna come through, because it ain't gonna come out of thin air. Okay, so again, being in alignment with your magic. Can't be doing regular stuff. You call yourself finna put a hex on somebody and they ain't did nothing to you. They minding their own business. They spiritually protected. They're doing the work. What's gonna happen? And that person ain't it that because the energy is not there for you to put nothing on them. It'd be different if that energy was there, that hostility energy was there. You would have something to work with. But because the hostility energy is not there and y'all haven't did any energy exchange like that, and you're just doing it because you don't like the way they look. You don't like the way they talk. So now you're gonna do something with them. They're in alignment. They're doing their work. Their spiritual hygiene is on point. And then you go in and try to do something, and they got all sorts of ancestors and spirits, watching over them. What's gonna happen? It's gonna backfire on you because you got bad intentions. It's gonna back because the energy from that person was never there. They never did an energy exchange with you. This is you trying to reach into their energy that's protected. And more than likely, if they highly spiritually protected and they close to their ancestors gonna put you on your back. It's not gonna work. Okay? You're gonna be very limited in what you can do. If you can do anything at all. So again, you got to be in alignment with your word. Can't just be out here doing stuff and you're not in alignment with it. You're physically as above, so below. Okay? It's got to match what you're doing. It's got to be in sync with it. If it's not gonna work. And that girl said, I did that and it didn't work. And as soon as she said that, the ancestors started showing me what she was doing. I said, because she wasn't in alignment with it. You call yourself trying to get rid of that supervisor because the supervisor was getting your butt about you actually not doing your job. You crossing your own self up. And then you went on to further cross yourself up to try to put the supervisor in the freezer spell. This is why I said you need to understand what you're doing because you will cross yourself up. Because some people want to use magic to steal in a negative way. But there is a level of integrity that you need to have when you're doing this, or those spirits will eat you alive. You're gonna cross yourself up. That's why the ancestors say don't engage. That's right. Don't engage. Don't engage. Walk away. Be quiet. I guarantee every time I had said that, I remember I had a disagreement with someone on the TikTok app, and this person had been engaging in disputes with a lot of people on TikTok. And my ancestor said, "Don't engage. Whatever you do, do not give it any negative emotions and leave it alone." I didn't understand it at first. I was like, but this person is just, this is not right. Ancestor, we got this. Don't you worry about it. You just don't engage. We got this. You don't have to do nothing. You just don't engage. Honey, I say I did not engage. I left it alone. Within 2 to 3 weeks, this person started coming down my timeline. This person was being exposed for so much junk that they were doing that was raggedy. So now they're being exposed. And I said, oh my God, ancestors. I said, they never lie. I never know why they say things, but they never lie. And now that person is being exposed. Surprised to see them still on this platform. But they got a big, big following. So people, just like Dr. Umar, even though people know he's sick, people still trying to hold on to raggediness. Our folks love raggedy folks. They love raggedy trauma. They love raggedy. They love trauma. They love that stuff. Some of us, we do. And so now that person is being exposed for a lot of things that they have done. Okay, they come up here and they talk a good game, and I knew what they were doing. You are spiritually attacking people for no reason. You need to be focused on your spiritual practice. Stop coming here telling people what, especially hoodoos or whatever. Stop telling people what they can and can't do in their spiritual life. Okay? Stop. You see them practicing something that's in your religion. That's just like me telling you you can't talk to Jesus because you don't go to church. Who am I to come tell you that? I'm not in charge of Jesus. I don't control Jesus. I can't control God. So who am I to come here and tell you that you can't talk to your God? That's none of my business. What I need to do is get somewhere and sit down and try to talk to my own God. That's not my job to come in here and police people and tell people who they can and can't pray to and work with because I'm in a religion. I'm so fanatical about this religion. I'm going to tell people they can't talk to God if they're not initiated. That's how you sound. I wish people would see that the people that is initiated, you need to just be quiet. You should have so much stuff to do in your religion. You don't have time to police other people's spiritual practice, especially the people of African diaspora. Go sit yourself down and figure out why y'all initiating people that don't look like you in there. Don't come over here saying nothing if you can't fix that because y'all stuff is getting raggedy, just like Christianity over there. Go fix that. You should have so much stuff to fix. You shouldn't be coming over here and absolutely. And I'm gonna take it a step further. You should absolutely understand if we don't want to be initiated in there at how raggedy is looking. You should have nothing to say. You should be too busy trying to fix that and make that attractive to people want to come. But with the behavior and stuff that you display, you make it very unattractive to want to be over there and be initiated with you. Because if that's how my mind gonna be all ragged and stuff like that, I don't want any parts of it. If I got to get in and initiate the person that was responsible for the atrocities and abuse of my ancestors, I got to initiate them in there. I don't want to be in it. You can take that, put that in your pocket. You can do whatever you want to do with it. But you need to get somewhere and sit down and think about what you're doing. They mindlessly come up here. I trip out on them. I be like, you doing the same thing the colonizer do. Get your somewhere and sit down somewhere. Get down, get somewhere and sit down. Because you trying to exploit people of African diaspora like we're already being exploited through Christianity and our government. And then people been going over there to get initiated, getting messed up. You putting hexes on them. People being getting unalived and all that stuff. And you want us to trust you? You better get somewhere and sit down and try to fix that over there. I can't emphasize that enough. I'm really sick and tired of them doing it. They just as worse than the Christians. Your mind just sick as them. You don't own. You probably have their religion, but you don't own the God that's in the religion. Remember that. You may own the religion, but you don't own the God in the religion. And nobody told you to go there and start spitting bloods and making pacts with those spirits. You did that. You wanted to pay them $10,000 to do that. Don't get mad at nobody else because they can talk to these spirits without doing that. You chose to do that. So you better make that work for you and get out of other people's business. And you're going to miss what's going to happen is y'all going to do the right person like that that's high ranking in the spirit that's not initiated that's going to lay you on your butt. That's what's going to happen because you messing with things you don't understand because you so caught up and wrapped up in a religion that a man made. And you got some hoodoo practitioners, baby. They ain't got no title, but they know how to lay you down. And they work with a variety of spiritual systems, some of them. Don't nobody care about your initiation. You paying no $10,000. Don't nobody tell you to go do that. Now you sit up here, we sitting up here working with the Orisha of the Lords, and now you mad and telling us what we can't do because you done paid 10,000. Go out your land. Go off your land into somebody else's land to be initiated. That don't even make no sense in itself. Now you want to come over here and tell people what to do because you done paid $10,000 and $12,000 for a religion. That ain't our fault. That don't mean you come over here and start policing other people that approach the Orisha or Voodoo in their own way. Okay? Yeah, honey, that right there and discouraging people, especially of African diaspora descent. It's like I feel like they trying to exploit us. You trying to do a number on us like Christianity did on us already. Then you get up in those houses, those godmother houses and houses like that, they be all jacked up. All them folks be jacked up. You better listen to these stories now. Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. mentions how our job is to clean up the whole mess by being universal people. I'm telling you, don't allow conflict in your circumference. Say that again. Say that again, Ashay. Replace God with the white man while reading the Bible. Okay? That's what you're doing. You bound down to a man. Y'all the escape coming. Religion have you to throw away common sense. That's what religion do. It wants to strip you from your sovereign spiritual connection that you by birthright you supposed to already have. The initiation. Who made that up? The man made that up. Some man made that up. Just like they made up a religion. And now you want a strong tell me you don't disrespect the traditions of our ancestors. Nobody is disrespecting that, but they was also meant to adapt and change. That's why you see that in Hoodoo and you see that a variety in the African diaspora religions when they had to hide under Catholicism. So get out of here and stop playing with people. Get out of here. You know there's more than one way to do this, so get yourself somewhere down. Spirituality is wide open and it is open to all sorts of creativity and inspiration. And here you is got us thinking it's one way to talk to God. Is you crazy? And you're talking about a God that can see things from a million perspectives. Incomprehensible. And you want me to think it's only one way to do. Okay. I can't believe it's the like I said, you get in these religions, it's a pimp game. It's a con game. Okay? That's what you sound like. You sound like a pimp, you sound like a con. A con person. That's what you sound like. A car salesman. Somebody trying to sell me a religion, tell me what I can and can't do. You better get somewhere and sit down and look at yourself and make the best out of your religion. Make your religion work for you. You say that y'all got in that religion to make yourself a good life. Go make a good life. Go create the life that you was trying to get when you paid $10,000 to be with, whoever. Go make your good life. Then you say when you get them in your life come in order, your destiny open up, your purpose open up. Then work it. Come back and tell us how it worked for you. Don't come here and go get it and try to police us on our spiritual practice because that's what y'all be doing. And I don't give a damn about your fancy name. I don't care if it say Empress, God. I don't care how you ranking in that spirit world though. How your life looking though. How them spirits move when you open your mouth and you need some? How that working for you, though? Let me know it ain't working, because you got to sit here and police people and not focus on your own religion and spiritual growth. Because if you did, you wouldn't be coming here talking about other people. You'd be keeping your mouth closed and not leaving yourself susceptible to all kind of things happening to you, having these disagreements with people intentionally, bullying them, clickbaiting them, sending your followers over there to attack people because you brainwash them too. Them narcissists, I have a whole bunch of flying monkeys. Just when I see your followers doing it, you got flying monkeys. You're a narcissist. You can't fight your own battles. You love the attention, and y'all give it to them. Some of the flying monkeys give it to them. And then after you find out, you want to apologize. No, you stay yourself right on over there because you love toxicity. Don't apologize now. You didn't want to think for yourself. You want to follow all that crap. No, go back over there. Okay, that's what I have to say about that. That's why it is closed. This is closed. It's two different things. Closed initiated is two different things. And you looking for some money, just like Christianity. And guess what? None of us have it to give you. And you said that if you wanted some money that bad, then that God that you serve over there should be producing some type of fruits. You shouldn't be sitting coming up here exploiting people, because that was the reason you got into it, right? Let's see it work for you instead of you coming. It can't be working too well for you because you got to sit out here and exploit people into getting initiated. Because if it was truly working for you, you wouldn't come here and exploit people. How to post video. I mean, I see them. They sit here, seen a young man, and that just I just like, look at this, look at this. He posted a picture of this beautiful young lady, had just bought her some Oshun tarot cards, and she was a woman of African diaspora descent, beautiful young lady, and she was just showing everybody her cards and what they say. And so here he is, because I don't know if he was in Ashay or he was in Ifa, all of them seem to be getting brain damaged over there, most of them anyway. He comes bring a post a video of her doing what she's doing and talking about, don't do this. I'm not blaming her. You know, I'm not talking bad about her. Why come you couldn't post something else? You mean to tell me out of all that stuff y'all have to learn in y'all religion, you can't sit down and talk about that? You have to make a post about talking about somebody else. That's what they've been doing here lately. They'll make this a topic of conversation. This let me know how low your vibrations is, that you got to sit here and post a video and ridicule somebody and tell them they have to be initiated to talk to this God because you in the religion. You look crazy. And y'all be eating that stuff up. Yeah, they got to be initiated. Yeah, they got to. I think psychosis, is it contagious? Because if it is, you're catching it. And people was going along with this. It's scary. When I see a lot of us sick like that, I say, see, this is why I stay. You wonder why spiritual people stay to ourselves? That's why. That's why. That's why you gonna see us by ourselves. We're gonna be sitting by ourselves. We might have a mind full of knowledge and wisdom, but we ain't gonna share it with you because as some of us, we scared to half of you crazy because you follow crazy. You like crazy. That's why you have spiritual. That's along the road. And you'll find yourself, when you get spiritual, you'll start standing yourself because you'll start seeing all that. You don't want that in your space. Okay? You don't want that in your space, beloved. You just don't. But it trips me out. And then you call yourself want to help somebody, heal somebody, and you over there doing that. It don't make sense to me. To me, you have to make that be attractive. Let me say, oh, I love the way I love the way your religion has really helped your life. I see so many changes in you. I see that you're not doing that anymore. I see a light in you. I want that light for myself. Can you share that with me? Y'all ain't giving us an opportunity to do that. Show, let us see the benefits of it. Let us see that light shine in you. You don't do that. You won't give us opportunity to do that. Let me admire that light in you and want it for myself. Don't manipulate me into being in it. Make me want to be in it by seeing you as an example. How it's working in your life. Share your testimony about the changes, positive changes that you see in your life. See, I can come here and I can talk about the positive changes that happen in my life. Okay? Just had a situation of a thing that come up with family here the other day. I can see the changes in myself. Any other time I would have been left, cussing, mad, throwing people out. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk to the ancestors. I'm going to do my prayer work. Uh, I'm going to dance here a little bit. I'm going to shift my conscience and listen to some gospel. And I'm going to maintain my own peace and regulate my own emotions. Now, 15, 20 years ago, that would have been totally different. Because I told you I used to be crazy. I'd be ready to put my hands on folks, ready to cut folks down with my tongue. Okay. But had I not did the shadow work and had that program, there is no way that I could take care of myself like that and know what I need to regulate my mind and emotions. Can you say that? Again, talk about hey, Majestic Tabby, talk about your experience. If they cannot, if a spiritualist cannot come here, and I do mean that too in these religions that's trying to initiate us in there, that you need to start talking about your life. Talk about how your life been fixed. Okay, stop coming here trying to tell people what they can and can't do. That's not gonna get you nowhere, especially with people of African diaspora. We'd had them folks telling us what we can and do in our spiritual practice. I don't know what make you think you can come over here and do that. And some of y'all don't even look like us. I'm suspicious about, are you even supposed to be in the African diaspora religion in the first place? Because the way some of you look. And you seem to always be attacking women of color. I see the pattern. I am on the autistic spectrums, so I do pattern recognition very well. It's really helped me to spot some bull crap when I'm looking at it. Okay. Anybody got any questions about that? Because I'm on my soapbox about it, because that makes me angry, because now they're bullying people that's on trying to gain more confidence on their spiritual journey. And when they do that, you're sitting up you're sitting up attacking a babe in the spiritual realm. This is just a baby. And you know this is just a baby, and this is why you're doing this. And when you're doing this, you're discouraging them when you do that. How dare you do that? So I had to say, you're supposed to be encouraging them, not doing that to people. And then you call yourself trying to help people, and here you is doing that. No, I don't want you working on me. Okay? I don't see no fruits of the spirit or any attributes in you that I would want you to be teaching me anything. Okay? So again, that matters how you handling things. You see spiritualists doing stuff like that, and they steady talking about somebody too. And I had to learn this the hard way. Be careful when somebody is always telling you somebody hexing them. I don't really like taking clients like that. I don't like taking clients if adamant about somebody hexing them, and they think somebody hexing them. Most times you are not that important for somebody to be throwing work at you. You're giving yourself too much credit. I had a lady that come to me like that one time, and she was just adding, no matter what I gave her, she wanted to be hexed. And my spirit guy said, leave her alone. She's feeding that. She liked that. That gets her attention. She don't want to be healed. She don't want to be whole. She want to hold that. So be careful, because I see a lot of them. They always claiming somebody throwing work at them. They always doing some type of protection. So, honey, you are not that important where somebody thinks and wake up and say, "Hey, I want to put a hex on her." Be weary of people that's always have that mindset. Because again, too, that you're attracting that to you if that's what you're always thinking. That's the frequency you're attracting. Okay? Even with these monitoring spirits, sometimes that fly is not from nobody. Sometimes that fly is just a damn fly. Okay? Sometimes that ant ain't from nobody. Sometimes that's just a damn ant. Okay? We took a lot of this stuff out of context. A lot of people took some of this stuff out of context. So you have to be careful. They will sensationalize things. They won't break things down. If they cannot come here and break down what they're talking about and articulate what they're talking about, and they can only sensationalize it and feed into your drama, your excitement, because there ain't nothing but your wounds. If they're feeding into that and had to hook you in on that, then you need to question that. I'm just telling you. If they have to get your emotions all riled up, and if you have to get your emotions all riled up to have a connection to somebody, you probably want to do some shadow work. And a lot of us like that. We want people to, and they tell you that when you make a sale, when you're a salesperson, I don't particularly like it. They tell you that to people buy out of emotions. People want to be emotionally manipulated. That's what I'm telling you. Right, and then they get the spiritual psychosis. Yep. They want you to do. You see that all the time with a lot of these cults. That's what happens. You seeing that with Donald Trump now. He was saying everything everybody wanted to hear, and now all these people going against him now because the mask is dropping. But he appealed to their emotions. He appealed to those biased behaviors and wounds and traumas that they was carrying, and they love that. So they voted for, and you do the same thing. A lot of y'all do the same thing, but you ain't gonna see it until you get somewhere and sit down and start looking at yourself, and you ain't gonna like what you see. And that's why I say when you get in the first part in that course, when you be sitting down, because that first course you're gonna be sitting down minding your own business. It's mandatory for you to make progress. Okay, you're gonna be sitting down, you're gonna be out of everybody's business. You're gonna be focused on you. And you get a chance to see how your mind works. And sometimes it's a good thing, but when you actually start to see yourself, it can be daunting. It can bring in grief because you see yourself for the first time and the things that you have been doing to contribute to your misery. And you've been doing it unconsciously. Hey, that homeschooler, you've been contributing to your own demise unknowingly. Now you got to go in there and forgive yourself because you're gonna be beating yourself up when you realize that. You're gonna be beating yourself. How come I didn't know? Why did I do that? You're gonna be going through a lot of changes. Then when you come to a meeting, I got to go in and shift your conscience. You did not know. You did not know. So you can't judge yourself on something you did not know. You were not aware of it. You can't fix something if you don't know. Okay. And I have to come in there and so you can have, you know, enormous self-love and self-care for yourself because you're gonna need it when you start looking at yourself. You're gonna learn how love, mercy, and grace work because you're gonna have to have that for yourself. And in turn, you're gonna have to use that on somebody else. If you ain't got that, you're gonna learn to have it because you're gonna need it for yourself. I'm working on decoding that right now. That picture above us is so pretty. Thank you. Thank you, Red. Hey, Angel Simon. Okay. You're gonna need that love, mercy, and grace. It's when you get to looking at yourself. When I looked at myself, I said, "Oh my God, I am raggedy. I am raggedy as hell. Look at me. I was pitiful. I said, I am so pitiful. Like I said, oh my God, I know. It's when you actually start looking, see, you don't see yourself now. But when you get in that course and you sit down and the homework and stuff you gonna be doing, you better be ready for what you see, because self-awareness is a two-edged sword. You get to see your good attributes, and you also get to see how you've been messing yourself up. Then you got to go in there and forgive yourself. You think you mad at other people for what they did to you. You're going to be more mad at yourself and what you did to yourself. I know it sounds crazy. You ain't going to see it at first. So you start breaking it down and be like, damn, why did I let them do me like this? Why did I do myself like this? You're gonna go through some changes with yourself. Why? Because you've never had a real relationship with yourself. You never paid attention. You was too busy looking at other stuff. Okay. And now you get a chance to really make friends with your true self and find your authenticity. Because that's what's going to happen in there. You're going to find out what you really like, what you really don't like. You're going to find out why you do this and why you don't do this. Because you're going to be questioning yourself, and that's what you need to be doing. That's how you heighten your intuition and improve your spiritual communication. If you ain't answering yourself questions and sitting with yourself and sitting with your emotions and feeling the shifts in your body, then you are not going to be picking up too much spiritual communication. But when you start doing this, asking yourself questions and putting stuff down on paper, you start your spirit, your intuition, your spiritual communication gonna get better, because now you get to really sit down. Does this make sense to you? I know a lot of y'all think, I love to see people say they think they perfect. They think their life is perfect. Oh, nothing is wrong with me. I don't need to do no shadow work. I love to see that. And then I hit them with that shadow work. Wow. I didn't know this was wrong with me. I didn't know that was wrong with me. I didn't realize I did that. Yeah, but you told me you was perfect, right? There's not a perfect person walking this planet. It's not one. So stop thinking it's one. Stop trying to be perfect, because you'll never be that. The only thing you need to be is you. Just be you. That's it. Just be. That's why you're called a human being. You're just supposed to be being. And then when you realize that, time begins to work for you. You stop working against time. I hope this making sense. It's gonna become clear to you when you get over there. All the esoteric and occult knowledge you think you didn't understand, once you crack the code on how your mind works, you're gonna begin to understand so much more. I promise you. Okay. Anybody got any questions for me? Anybody got any questions about Hoodoo, shadow work, the program, any of the services I offer? Let me put my thing in the chat in case somebody want to reach out and book a reading. Again, if you're wanting an astrological reading, anybody in here, before I won't let anyone go, because I've seen some people in here that had an astrological reading. Could you share in the chat about your reading? If you're in here and I've done a casted an astrological a hoodoo spiritual blueprint for you, because that's what I call it, hoodoo spiritual blueprint. If I've casted that for you, could you please how did that work for you? I've seen some people come in here that've had a reading from me or just had one, because I a lot of people just getting their readings today and this weekend. I've done some over the weekend. I think I seen Kathy in here, and I think I seen somebody else. Again, if you could just share your reading, and some of you guys have gave me feedback and say, "Hey, Miss Penny, this reading was look, girl, it's right where this was going on with me right now. This is what I need to be doing. You are so right." So I've had some people to email me and say, "Miss Penny, you right on target. You didn't lie. This is what's going on with me." So it's just amazing how accurate those hoodoo blueprints are. When I look at your astrological chart and I start looking at things, and then providing you a root work or hoodoo regimen to help you get started. I thought it was some people in here that was in here. I think Kathy was in here earlier. But again, I'll probably maybe on the next video somebody will want to share. Okay, so if you've had a reading, an astrological reading from me, and if I did a reading, and if you're in the live stream, uh, how was that reading for you? Did it give you insight? Did it help? Okay, did it help? Because I'm getting feedback in my email saying, yeah, this has helped, this helped, this helped. No, I don't think anyone's in here that's had what I received the astrological reading. I have and feel it applies to me. Okay, so Deborah Braswell had one. She said she felt it like it applied to her. Okay, it resonated with what she had going on. So you'll be surprised how much it resonate with you. And as always, before you get even though I recommend it, always ask your ancestors the direction they want you to go with the information. Just because I recommend it and I give you insight on it, uh, again, doesn't mean I don't want you to follow your ancestors. I absolutely do want you to follow your ancestors because I know that's how you're going to be successful. Okay. All right. And over there on Patreon, all my Patreon members got juicy stuff over there. We're breaking the astrological readings are $10. The tarot readings are 30. And I have my email address there. Um, just email me and I will send you out an invoice and I need your date, time, and place of birth. Okay? And I'll get it to you within a day or so. You'll have your results. Okay? So if you're interested, again, in our beautiful community over there where we're growing, we cover all aspects of hoodoo. When we get through with you, you're going to know your magic. You're going to know you magic. You understand me? You're going to know it. I don't want you thinking. I don't want you to guessing. You're going to know that you're going to know your power. You're going to know it from the holistic perspective if you need to create medicines for yourself. You're going to know it from a spiritual perspective. If you got to get on your table and do some work, you're going to know it. You're going to know hoodoo. You're probably going to be breathing and talking it. Okay? Because we don't just teach you one thing. We don't just teach you spells. Your ancestors going to teach you work. That's ancestral magic. That's why you have everybody hoodoo looking different. Why? Because their ancestors taught them. And once you know how all these things work, you'll be creating your own work. And again, we have a variety of books and resources that will give you structure on creating your work. Okay, but for the most part, I'm not going to show you nothing. You need to come up with your own. You need to trust your own magic. You need to trust your ancestors. And I would advise you to stop following other people's things without asking your ancestors and sit down and get a relationship with them and let them lead you to do it. Okay, that's what I recommend because you're not helping yourself by doing that, beloved. I know it seems like you are, but you need your own magic. And if you're gonna be following somebody else's magic, need to put your own oomph on it. You don't need to follow exactly everything that they're doing. Because believe me, the magic that you're getting from them, they put their own oomph on it. Okay? It needs to have your stamp, your signature, your fingerprint on it. It doesn't need to have somebody else's signature on it. It needs to have your signature on it. So it needs to come from you. Okay, I have learned so much from listening to your lectures and reading. Thank you so much, Deborah Braswell. I just share what the ancestors put in me and transfer it back to you guys. I can't take it with me. I got to give it to you. Okay, if you're willing to do the work, you're willing to put in the work, and you're serious about what you're doing, get over there. Now, if you just want to play with some magic, then you probably want to go on somebody's platform that just ain't gonna do nothing but show you spells and psalms all day. But that's not a full context of hoodoo, and it's only so far you're gonna get with that when you start hitting blocks. And then when you start talking to that spiritualist, they're just showing you that 9 times out of 10 they don't fully understand all the components of hoodoo. So they're gonna give you this story and not really help you troubleshoot and trying to get in alignment with your magic. They just gonna, most of them just blame it on you. You ain't cleaning your house or something like that. instead of having something put in place and work put in place so you can make improvements and do the work. That's where I come in. It's just all around over there because I know how it works because I lived it. I didn't just pick this up and start doing spells with Psalms and things. No, I sat down and I studied it. I studied every African diaspora spiritual practice. Okay. I studied a variety of religions. I studied a variety of occult books. Looked at necromancy. I looked at sorcery. I looked at candle magic. I set myself down. Didn't nobody show me nothing. I can go to my table and I can put some stuff together myself because I know how it works, because I studied it. And once you know what a herb do, what salt do, what all these things do, when you understand what they do, you'll start putting things together yourself by the guidance of your ancestors, and it's gonna work. It works better when you understand the working, but when you putting stuff together and you don't understand the mind, your mind got to be able to understand it for it to work. Sometimes it's not faith. It's some of us need we want so badly to understand the spiritual science behind it, and when it don't make sense to us, then it won't work. But if we sit down and study it and we start programming our subconscious mind again with this science, now that you know how it work, you'll go there and it work. Why? Because now you comprehend and understand. But some people can't work magic because they don't know how it work. And then when they go to the drawing board and they learn everything, now when they go to their table, they know exactly what they're working. They're gonna set that sucker on fire, baby. Something gonna move. Okay? And you'll see the difference in yourself as well. Okay. Instead of learning, instead of growing over there. So if that's something you're interested in, get over there. Um, just book me. Okay, DM me. Link is in the bio. They're on YouTube if you're interested in the Spiritual Roots Hoodoo community. And the link is here on um in my link tree here on TikTok. Okay. And I'll be coming back every now and then giving you updates. But for the most part now, I think this is my favorite part is we're breaking down the magic in the mind, the power of thought, and how they influence our magic. I think that's just a super part. We just got some great lectures coming up over there. You guys are going to enjoy it. I think it's 2 or 3 books over there I enjoy giving a lecture on. And I didn't even want to stop the lecture. I wanted to keep on talking. I was like, nah, let them let them do their thing. But I get excited too when we go over some of the materials, and I'm so passionate about what I do. And that's why I take my time and I break everything down because I understand we have been stripped from our birthright, and I understand that it takes time to learn it. So I break it down in sections so you can learn it. I don't rush you over there. There is no rush in learning this. If you're just beginning, I don't expect you to be very comfortable with practicing hoodoo at least about a year because again, it's so vast. And so and you taking things out that helping you form your magic, your magical regimens and things that you're going to be using on your path. You might not use everything. You might put you some stuff together and it works just fine for you. But all the resources are there for you to do that. Okay? Any more questions for me before I shut down the live? I know it's getting late over there. You have any more questions for me? Anything? Okay. So I hope you found this information helpful, uh, understanding what happened to us and the importance of healing, which is ancestors work. Shadow work is ancestors work. You're gonna level up with your ancestors when you do shadow work. I promise you. Okay. So if you're ready for that, that's what we're doing over there. All right. Okay, TikTok family, thank you for being here. If you need me, DM me. Okay. Okay, YouTube family. You know where I'm at, and I'll be coming back with some more juicy discussions. And for all my all my practitioners that's over there on the platform. Be looking for some awesome lectures, some more growth, and some more insights. Uh, and some more workshops because we got a workshop coming up over there. We have our last tarot card workshop that's coming up. I think it's this Sunday, this weekend that's coming up. So we'll have our last tarot card workshop. We will get some practice in and get you comfortable with divination and tarot cards. And then the week after that, then is we start our shadow work program. And it's probably going to be going on what every week or every other week we're going to be meeting. So you don't want to miss that if you and again, this is very affordable considering the stuff that we carry, all the trauma we carry. And I'm going to be present there facilitating. I know exactly what I'm doing. I've done it, a lot of times. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're trying to heal and deepen your relationship with spirit, get over there. There's a community, a sacred space where I'm holding space over there where you can speak without any interruption or judgment. Okay. I'm going to make sure I be very protective of everyone in that circle. And I'm going to be kind of stern in there, not trying to be mean, but I'm trying to keep all of you protected and keep the work sacred. So understand when you get over there, there's going to be certain rules and regulations over there that I have, and it's not to be mean. It's to keep everything pure, to keep it sacred, and to keep everyone safe. Okay, I respect the security of your mind, body, and spirit, and so because I'm facilitating, that's my responsibility to keep everyone safe. So I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to keep you safe. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here, YouTube family. And I'll come back again and talk about other insights. If it's something particular, YouTube family, because I just come here and yap with you guys. You guys, I think you've been with me longer than YouTube. I mean, longer than TikTok. If it's something in particular that you want me to talk about, let me know and I'll talk about it. And of course, I've covered a variety of topics here on my channel. But if there's something in specific that you want me to talk about, let me know. I'll look into it and we'll come here and have an open discussion. You know I will. I don't mind talking about it. Okay? You guys take care. I love you. Thank you for being here.